Okay, hey everyone, it's catching the recording. I just read through. Is it Anne or Anne Catherine? Is Anne fine?
Well, it's actually Anne Catherine, or
Anne
yeah,
Catherine.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I just read through Anne Catherine's message in the Telegram chat. So feel free to go back and read through that if you haven't seen it. But yeah, first in response to the logical thing of structure and setup and things like that, sure, by all means, if you have the capacity to, and as well as you want to have and utilize the different suite of sort of products and things that a Magic has, highly recommend it. And it's in your best interest too that when you do have people come through, if you can place them in a 2A lane, that only makes sense. Is it a deal breaker? Are you going to be wrecked if you don't do it or anything? No, it's really whether you want to do that or not. That's the best path forward if you have the means. If you don't, or you don't want to make the effort to do it, if it is a stretch or whatever, doesn't matter. You're in. You know,
I
you get
I
started and you move
actually
forward.
I actually asked my guides yesterday, and they told me that I don't have to do that now. So
Awesome.
maybe wait. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I on a business level, like I said, we always recommend it, but whatever way you start, it's whatever way you start. On a health level, I always recommend it. Like we've said in the webinars, it kind of defeats the purpose to be drinking the not it doesn't defeat the purpose. I'll change my language. it To drink the water and then to go stand under a shower where we are just showering down fluoride or chlorine or a steam of chemicals or different things what we've got.
Yeah.
We're gonna be there's a level of toxicity in that, and then we're stripping it over here, and we're detoxing, and then we're toxing, and just over and over. So I personally recommend it on that level. Um, but
I'll
yeah,
definitely think of it. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll look into it
um,
more.
yeah, no worries. And then with the people coming on, what I would say is when you get started, it's easy to look at Monica or myself or anyone, the leader, anyone with a team, and think like, this is what I got to do, or this is what I've got to get to. And there truly is like infinite different ways to do this business. I was having a chat with Kylie. Kylie's one of our direct sponsors in our team. I was having a chat to her before the event actually, and just talking about her team and leadership and some of the things happening with her leaders and whatever. And um, one of her leaders, was like branching off and building their own thing and their brand and their team calls and all this sort of stuff, and everything kind of came to a halt. And she was reflecting back to conversations I had when she was earlier on in the journey, and she's like, I think a lot of the conversations we had, she's like, now I see it. Um, but I said, she said to me, like, you can see how it slowed down for her and what she was struggling with, and I said, yeah, that's honestly one of the biggest things I see people sort of go wrong or they turn too early is that people think that success in this business is the leadership and the calls and the training everyone, the teaching and doing whatever, where truly the greatest success in this business is if you check the ego at the door, if there's any ego trying to drive to do that and be in that position, and if it works and you can link up with whoever upline is or whatever team you're in, and the calls work and the sales work and the education and the webinars work and whatever else, and you can just plug in and focus on bringing in new leads, new sales, and helping your team do the same, do that as long as you can until it's like your team is built so big that it kind of has its own energy. It has its own vibe that might be a little different to the group that you're in, and now you can see that things are starting to slow down or things aren't necessarily converting as much. So then it's like, I'm getting that nudge to now step out and create my own thing, to now, do my own calls or team or whatever it is like that. And so the concerns of, am I really prepared to lead? I would, if I'm in your shoes, and I says to everyone, is continue to just be the student, but it's almost like the person who found the cookie jar. you know it's like telling people about the cookies. Come get a cookie, I'm having cookies, come get a cookie, and just enjoy the cookies together. Continue to grow, and if you get to a place where, hey, this has been quite successful and I've been doing it for 6 months, 9 months consistently now, this level of result or income, maybe I don't want to do work anymore, or I'm going to cut back a little bit. You have a bit
Mm.
more time. You start to live in more, the alignment of your values and the way you want to do, if you want to shift out of that space. But don't feel like you need to rush to leadership, or you need to guide everyone along the way. That's one of the best parts in this business, is just being the student and connecting people. I've seen people build mega businesses, make a lot of money, just being a great connector,
Okay.
not being the voice at the front of the room or on the call or whatever else. You don't need to be that even to be a leader or achieve results and ranks in this business. If that's your pathway and then you get to a point where now I'm stepping into this, beautiful. But don't feel like you need to, because you definitely don't.
Mm.
Mm.
Thank you.
And I just
Does that
want to
make sense?
say, Ann-Katrina, like I'm there for you also. I know you're under Karina, but in a way you came through me also, right? And we placed you
Mm.
under Karina. So don't be like, really, I'm here, like reach out. Because I think like Andy said as well, like you're not supposed to be like have everything in place when you're just getting started, and like to have three-way calls or just to reach out if you feel like if you're posting something and you want feedback on it, or like how should I like invite people, how can I speak, I'd be happy to like to guide you in that. And it is like Andy said, it's really about finding your voice and really not comparing to anyone, because
Mm.
you will reach out to people that I won't be able to reach out to, or anyone
Mm.
else.
Mm.
It's called
Yeah,
because
and I think that became so clear this
yes,
weekend
that is
that,
beautiful.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
not compare, but just being me and yeah,
Yes, exactly. And in your time, in your way, I mean,
yeah,
also like Balash said, like how important it is to find yourself, like to do the inner work. And then, that has to kind of grow until it's like, wow, yeah, now it's very natural to just like to share it more wider, like to be more public because you know where you are,
mm,
with
Mm-hmm.
I'm just having that conversation because there's Lotta Harming. She's leading a lot of nurses in Sweden. Like she has this
mm,
sjuksköterskeuppropet.
yeah,
And Susanne, who's like leading a lot of people in Gothenburg. And oh, here's Mira. No, but they're also just finding their voice in this. And I think it's also in the beginning they were like, oh, can we do it like this way? Are we allowed to do it that way? And of course you are. I mean, that is the whole idea that you should do it your way. But until you... Ja, jag pratar älskling. Vad sa du, ville du leka mer? Ja. Älskling. Titta, det är en till liten tjej där. Va? Ska du hälsa?
mm,
No, but until then, like Andy said, like jump on like the webinars that already exist, the launches, everything, and just learn and implement, like.
yeah,
And
And
just being what works too. Don't feel
exactly,
like your
don't have to
direct upline
reinvent the
is
wheel
what
from
you
the
have.
start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Because
thank you,
we
Monica.
all through our businesses, like I'm the same. There's some people on my team that don't work with me. We don't vibe, in their groups. Some I do. There's some uplines that I don't vibe with from my area that I don't work closely with, or we just have slightly different things that don't work. But then there's other uplines further up that I do click with, and I've always gone to for like it's just what you do. You just find what's synergistic with you, and that's already there, and model and learn from and
Mm.
work with. That's
It's
the
not
whole
like I
point.
don't think I would get the support from my upline. I'm sure I would if
Yeah.
I reach out to her, but it's just that we might have different ways of working, and that's fine. And
Yeah.
as you say, there's so many ways to do this, and I just have to find my own way.
Totally, and that's what I'm
And,
referring to. Not so much the support, whether someone will support you or not,
mm,
but more just
mm,
what's the way they do it, and
mm,
and does that kind of work with you and your audience,
mm,
and you know, don't necessarily need to. You don't feel like you need to reinvent the wheel straight away. There will be people all the way up that are doing it in a certain way, and that you might find more consistency with, or find more of a synergy with, to you and your market and who you're speaking to as well. So yeah, and if you found that with, like, say, the Wild and Free Festival, and you feel really correlated with that and connected to that frequency, then link into that, link into the people that were there, and the way they're doing things, and just go forward, learn, and the
yeah,
the one thing I would say with this business is, if you get really good at generating leads, the biggest thing that it gives you is infinite like chances to get it right. Just endless chances to get it right, and you could say something to someone and go, "Oh, that went terribly." But and if that's your first, your one lead in the last 6 months, and the next four, it's a big deal. But if you're just
I
popping
had
10 leads a week kind of thing, it's yeah, okay, another one, cool.
I
Don't
I had
never do
one.
that again.
I
Yep,
had one in the beginning, and that went terrible.
yep,
We had a three-part call with my upline, and even she thought that the person that I had invited was a bit obsessive about some things, and in the end, it turned out that yeah, she would go for this if I went with her business. So
yep,
it was like a blackmail situation. So it went really weird.
yeah. I've
She
seen
was
that
selling
before.
this. She was selling this Cincino oil,
Yeah,
the balance oil. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so it's what's the word? Yeah, if you get good at that, it's just you're going to constantly get better, constantly refine, constantly learn what works for you, what doesn't, what's the best way that you say it. You learn how to articulate what it is you feel. That's another journey that people can struggle between the A and the B of just how do I articulate the way that I feel about it, the way that I see it.
Mm,
What is my message? And that kind of takes me to the earlier part of your message that I was reading of just sort of how you presented and what you're focusing on. And I think when we come to this business and we come from traditional business, whether we are running a business or whether we are, involved in a role, but understand the sales element of that and selling that product and the benefits of it and so on, we can get stuck in the details and think that this water is incredible. This machine is amazing. This point, this point, this point. Why would you not do this? This is how your
mm,
health's impacted when you drink X, Y, Z, and when you do this, this is what happens. And acidosis and toxicity levels and dehydration, and go all the way through them all and think you'd be mental not to buy this. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't invest in their health? If you don't have health, you don't have wealth. Like all of these things, and then go, why is no one buying? Like why is no one coming in at this? Or we see someone else that has a deeply ingrained business model already that this just kind of slots in perfectly to. And yes, there may be truth in that she has a higher net worth clientele, but probably the reason why she's having so much success is not because of the clientele or the clinic. It is in the synergy of it all and how it
yeah,
flows together, and her standing in her authority. I've never met
yeah,
her, but standing in her assurance, her conviction, her authority, this just makes sense. Whereas
yes,
when we're not having that, there's distortions and incongruencies for our own self with what we're pushing or what we're selling or the conversations we're having. We don't have our clarity yet. And so coming from the traditional model, it you can get stuck in the details. And really, this business model is about the vision. It's what is your vision. If you bought this product based on purely just the health benefits and the perks, then you probably just stick with the machine themselves. But
mm,
if you're here in the business and you see a bigger vision for yourself, it's because there is a vision that you hold for yourself. Even if there's a part of it that's congruent in, say, the conscious mind, and there's more in the unconscious that hasn't been fully connected to or tapped into. It's not present mind right now. Or maybe it is. Maybe you have the whole thing. But your bigger vision is what drives you to build this business. And then when it comes to you sharing about a magic, it's what is your specific vision? Like, what do you see for yourself and what do you see for others?
mm,
What are you a stand for? Like, what are you putting out there? And having a vision bold enough or big enough that others can see themselves as part of it. They can see
mm,
their vision slot into the bigger vision that you are sharing, and letting your heart lead, letting your heart speak. So not just the mental benefits or it makes sense, and even financially, all the steps and what we can achieve and why it's all got to be the heart. And when
mm,
you allow that to shine, you allow it to come through, and you feel clarity with that, you feel congruency with the heart and what you speak and the mind, then people will resonate with that. People will feel that. And I mentioned in the voice message in the group chat that I was having this conversation with a couple in Victor and Maria's team. Similar, health influencers had different social media followings and these kind of things around health and holistic health and healing and so on, and they tried that approach as well. Just the health benefits, water, their stories with health and how it changed and so on, and just lots of leads, no sales. And
Mm.
again, when I talked to them, I said, tell me about it. Tell me about why you're doing the business. Tell me about your vision. Tell me about the business element or the product element, etc., etc. There was so much they told me, and there was a whole
Mm.
different energy. Like there was a light on their face, there was a smile on their face. They were telling me about it, and then they took me through what's the presentation been so far, and show me what you're presenting and talking about. It all shifted. That the way I could feel them, like I'm very like sort of clairsentient, so I'm very physical sort of sense with someone. I couldn't feel them anymore. It was almost like they went, 50 meters further back. It was like the voice was in the background. I couldn't feel it as much, and I couldn't feel them, and their faces changed a little bit. Even the less smiled less as
Wow.
they were talking about it. And so when we came back, I talked to them about it. I talked about the bigger vision. Like, what is your vision? Have you guys sat down as a couple and just went, what is the big vision we have with this?
Mm.
Not just dash three and whatever, but what does that look like? What is that journey together? What's the vision we hold for people, and getting crystal clear with that? And so they're going to go away, do
Right.
that, and come back. And so I say that for everyone is, instead of all the benefits and learning the comp plan, those sort of things, it's getting crystal clear on your vision, your heart-led vision, and then what you talked about before of being bold enough to just start sharing, no matter what someone thinks or someone knows someone who's going to see and say it, you know, screw that. And
Mm.
allowing yourself to speak boldly, then people can feel you, and then
Right.
people can see their own vision with it, and you become a permission slip. You become a beacon of light, permission, and hope for someone else to step boldly into their vision and go, holy shit, like I can see that for me too.
Mm.
I can. I've never heard someone speak about something like that. That's
Mm.
what I always feel like, but no one ever talks about it. Everyone just kind of, we keep it small and we keep it in tight, but all of a sudden, I've known you for 10 years. I've never heard you speak like this. And that's the sort of results we start to have.
Yeah, and I think people
Wow.
like feel when you are authentic, when you are yourself, you know.
Mm.
So and to like Balazs always says, like speak from where you are at the moment, like be very true with where you're at, just like what you said almost in the chat to us. If you're it's like looking for friendship for your family, like soul family, and of course then to be authentic, like this is where I'm at, I'm stressed out, I have this and that happening, and then like to talk about like with the Wild and Free Festival or this community, like what you're feeling in this, like, but you feel this shift happening within you, and you feel like, you see very clearly, where you're going with it, and like, I mean, that is authentic where you are at. So you don't need to fake anything or like
Mm.
like to say anything that is not true, because it's people, then people will see your journey, and then if you're just authentic with where you're at, and then you share your vision of, but I see what is possible now, like I've broken through like so many layers of like disbelief and this and that, and now I see, like, do you want to come on that journey with me? Like, I'm really excited about this journey that I'm on, and I can tell you, like, so many people will feel you and hear you and will be in the same exact same position as you. And it's to find that recognition. Like, someone told me that was like top branding expert, it's three things that really call people on social media, or that like attract people. And it's what was his name again? Oh, I can't remember. He was working with Mark Lack, but he said it's the stories, like the story, like the real, the authentic stories, because that's something like is kind of instilled in us as human beings, to listen to stories and to hear each other, and sitting around the campfire, like talking to each other. It's something very deep in us to
Yeah.
share that authentic stories, and then it's to give value, and then you can come into, but like I see you, I see your pain points because other people are in the same with the same pain of being feeling stuck. You know what? I have value here. I have a solution. I have a very real solution for you. And you just keep on repeating that value and that solution, like both with the mindset and with the water and with a like business model. Like you can just show so the people, maybe the 10th time they see it, it's like, well, now she's saying it the 10th time, like there must be something there, like, yeah, maybe. And then they start to like a little crack opens up in the matrix, you know, like and that's the power of just repeating something. Sometimes you think like, oh, I'm saying this again, and like people are going to be tired of it, like, oh,
Exactly.
I can't just keep on repeating myself, but that's actually what works. Like
Okay.
psychologically, when you keep on repeating something, like I keep on repeating, well, guess what? You can be sovereign, you can be free. Like there is another way. You know, I love you. I would love you to see you free and sovereign and thriving in your life. Like, and that's true. You know, that's really authentic. And I keep on repeating that. And then people, you know, after maybe sometimes like I've been following you for 4 years. I had a woman like that the other day, and like now I'm ready.
Yeah.
And like I've kept on repeating things, and it's not boring. Like it's just breaking through. It's like, yeah, breaking through glass, like boom, boom. You just open it up a bit at a time, you know. And then the other thing is just to like have fun. Like you don't have to be all serious and all figured out and like, oh, this and that. Like, you know, when you are living, taking care of yourself, like enjoying yourself and being like, start to live in the, like, even though you don't have your time freedom yet, but in those pockets of your time, like you really use that to like to live the life that you want to live already, you know, and show that because like it's like Andy said, it's not all like the mental understanding things, like it's a lot of the emotional and also getting to know you, getting to know what you enjoy, your interests, like creating that personal relationship with people, you know. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Mm.
one of the things Monica said is really key. I just want to reiterate it around consistently, like putting it out there, consistently saying, consistently claiming your vision, consistently inviting people. It's one of the biggest challenges people have, especially doing this in the social media space. Like
Mm.
we become so externally referenced, right? So I do this, what happened? How many likes did I get? How many comments did I get? Engagement. Okay, let me do it. I'll do it this way. I'll do it differently. And how did that work? And we become so focused on what's happening outside of us. And then that's the space, as you mentioned earlier, of like what people say or what they think and everything else in the background too. But everything in life comes back to the consistency of what we do. So you take that another example, right, to show how kind of the lunacy of it. Let's say you want to get ripping fit, healthy, stronger than ever, more vibrant, and so on. And you know you're going to start working out. And if say you're not working out now you're doing like 5 times a week. And so you do it one day, and then the next morning you wake up, get on the scales, look in the mirror, and go, "Well, I don't see the change yet. Okay, I'll do it one more time, and I'll see if anything happens. And if it doesn't, screw this." You know, that's the way people approach this business, and you can understand it. But it's not about that. When you go back to the gym, that's what it's really about. What are you doing every day? How are you living? What are you sharing and putting out there? And again, in the socials, we think, oh, everyone's already seen it already. The
Yeah.
majority of people haven't. Even the people that it gets shown to, most just flick and scroll. Most don't even stop, you know? There's only a small percentage of the people that even get shown out of your following or audience that actually stop and engage with it. And then even a smaller percentage that actually comment or actually like, you know? And then you think of all the other people you're trying to reach, as well as all the new people that find you as you're building an audience and a network. You've got to keep putting it in front of them. And you've got to put it in front of them many times for people to go, okay, now, as Monica touched on before. And so one of the best advice I can give you is to come back to just like, what have you got to do? What are you doing? And just keep doing that. Kind of forget the outside noise. Yes, you'll measure the efficacy of your sales posts and those things with engagement and stuff as you start to go. But in the beginning, it's just keep throwing shit at the wall for a year, you know? When I first started my first network marketing business, was just like, oh, all those things are pyramid scams or schemes. That's what I thought about it. And then I went to one and I was like, this makes so much sense. I was just like, this is amazing. Why has no one like showed me this before? And then I was telling mates, I was like, man, I just found this like phone pyramid scheme thing. We got to do it, man. It's epic. That's literally how I was pitching, because that's the reference of what I had that the industry was, and I didn't know anything about it, but I knew when I got there, I was like, this is epic. But I was still just talking about it in the other way. Obviously, that was a flaming bag of you know what. I didn't make a sale for a year. I was horrible. And so I just, yeah, got stuck into just learning and watching people around me and modeling them. And everyone was way older than me. You know, I was a young kid. I was like 23. Um, Everyone was older than me and didn't suit me or whatever else, but I learned a lot. And then finally, the advice I gave you before, I was like, what is my vision? I was like, I want to build like a youth movement. I want to build a team of like under 30s, like young men and women that want to create something, don't like what's happening in the world in the past, we've been shown, and want to create something massive. And I started speaking that vision. I made no sales up to that point, but I started just speaking that vision. And as I did, I got the pushback, poking the mole head out of the hill, out of the ground, and someone stomping on it, and someone, giving me some shit. Or mates I used to go out and have drinks with are like, what are you talking about, mate?
Yeah.
And just kind of, giving me shit and sort of the tall poppy syndrome. Um, and then after a while, like first sale, and then second, and then I'd made a few sales, and all of a sudden
Wow.
someone in my team made a sale. I was like, oh, well, this is that thing they talk about. And then, fast forward 18 months and we built the biggest youth movement in the Southern Hemisphere, with
Wow.
tens of thousands of distributors. And so that was a massive movement with like 6 different country launches in Mexico and Philippines and everywhere else. And that is all literally the branding, the movement. Like we collaborated 2 other youth teams that were building their thing, and we just built this massive thing, even if we weren't financially connected, and we just took this brand and ran with it. All of that was vision. Like every single person that came in, they had their own unique situation or what they wanted financially or what they were doing it for or their own goals, but they were enrolled in the bigger vision, and their
Mm.
vision they could see fit into that and be part of it. And so it's what I come back to. We've built other network marketing companies in our time. Same thing, always vision. It's always back to that, and it truly being your vision. And to make it a little more esoteric, when we look at all of life and all of, I said it before, but all of existence, this experience of life is fractal in nature, with these holographic beings, light permeating through our essence, and we are living this fractal universe. And so when we look at, we are all an extension of the one essence, and it's in its own version, with our own lenses, our own experiences, all these different souls and spirits and beings. We're all having our own lessons, our own internal conflictions and challenges, and we're the victim, we're the perpetrator, we're the all these different roles through life and all these different experiences. We are but one leaf on one twig, on one branch, on one beam of one tree trunk, of one forest, of one, area. And our unique experience is pivotal to the whole.
Mm.
And so everything being fractal in nature, as is to a Nagic. What is a Nagic's broader vision? What is their mission? Can they do that just saying the same one thing, and 100,000 people just saying the same one thing over and over and not being themselves, just being robots repeating the same phrase and not saying it in their language, in their way? Can it have the same result? No way. But can a Nagic invoke 10,000, 100,000 different beings that see the broader vision of a Nagic, its wider mission? And can you, in your own perspective of it, share the way you see it and the way you feel it to reach your people? Same with me, same with Monica, same with everyone else. If we are all true to our own heart, and we all live in our own truth and our integrity and share our visions and do it in our way, whilst learning from others and what they've done, to learn the ropes, to feel that confidence in ourselves, then and only then can an addict truly live and fulfill its broader mission. We're all an integral part of it, but it has to be done in our own unique way. Some do it offline, Cynthia's like, I don't do that online thing. And it's like, what? Like, imagine if you did. And the reality is, like, maybe you never got to where you got to if you did. And so
Mm.
we need everyone doing it in all their different ways so that the souls and spirits and different people that are bonding to that unique vision or that unique message or so on, they can do that. They can feel that congruency. For me to get up here and share to your audience exactly the way I see it and so on, it might reach no one.
Mm.
Doesn't mean that the vision's not true or it's not inspiring or it's not, it doesn't invoke something in me or people in my team, but it's what's your message, because you are the connector. You are the next chain in the link to other people you get to give this gift to, other people that are looking for something. And that can only happen when you're in your truth, in your alignment.
Mm.
So yeah, that's kind of the more of an esoteric way I look at the
Mm.
business and the magic as a whole, but that's what we're all here to do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. Does that help?
Beautiful.
Yes.
And I
Thanks.
think
Thank you very much.
yeah, it's such a beautiful process of actually finding yourself and being like more and more authentic, like of course with integrity, but then and just continue to be that and trust the process. It's
Mm.
like like Andy said, like you can't go to the gym twice and think that it's gonna happen, but because then you don't have maybe the motivation and the vision for yourself. Like you need that vision for yourself and that motivation, and it needs to just be instilled in you, like these daily actions that actually practically also take you forward. Like I usually say, like to connect with people, to learn something, to like yeah, to implement, and like to these practical things, just to have them as a daily, you just do it automatically, just like working out or whatever, and you do it as your authentic you with love and joy, then and you just continue, you like, and then
Mm.
when you're not like too focused on comparing or results or this should have happened, this blah blah blah,
Mm.
or this got that many likes or this got no likes, oh why am I not reaching people? Like if you put that kind of self-talk just to the side and you like burn it, like bye, goodbye,
Mhm.
and you just continue, just
Mm.
continue to be your authentic self and to do the steps, then you are moving forward, like
Yeah.
like, and then it will come back to you, like it will have a ripple effect and it will come back.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
Much like that gym analogy too. Um, at the start, let's say you're trying to create that shift, it's to get an outcome, right? You're changing a way of being, or you're making new commitments and new actions you're going to follow through and do with consistently over time to create an outcome. At a certain point, that shifts to it, as Monica was touching on, it's just a way of life. You just do it because it's good for you. You do it because you feel good. You do it because it's just natural. It gets to a point where you're like, I feel weird if I don't move, I don't do something, I don't sweat today. I've done it for so long. It's a part of my existence. It's how I regulate energy and emotion and everything. I express and I allow myself to move through it. And so then it just becomes a natural way of being. It's not necessarily to get an outcome. There might be in the background or the area of like, I want to get a little stronger. I want to, go a little longer or whatever it may be. But it's no longer that I want to get to this point. And such will be the case in the business too, in the way you create and what you do. It's like initially it's ranks and it's all these sort of things, and then all of a sudden it's just, this is your business, this is your mission. Yes, you know what the next rank is, you know what you're on the path to, but it's really about, can I reach more people? Can I help more people? Can I talk to them? Or what can I do to improve or make things easier? How can I make it more efficient for the next person? And that becomes more of your focus. All the numbers, just you just know they're just happening. Like, and it gets to a point where you can't even really manage or track the numbers. It just rolls. So it's just happening in the background whilst you're doing the thing that is the most natural and the most exciting for you. And so if we can bring that sooner, it becomes just easier, more in flow, instead of trying to get the outcome. The outcome will always come.
I think that's the key also to think that, oh, sorry, you're actually helping someone who is the next that can help instead of thinking of them as leads and sales.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Definitely.
you're right.
I got stuck in that. I think I was just like 5A or something, and I had this kind of dry period for like a couple of months, and I thought, oh my God, I'm completely like I can't do this any longer, and this and that. But that's when I got to like 5A, it was like, oh, just one sale. I started to think about the numbers. Oh, that's like a salary almost. Like, oh, that's a good thing. I started focusing on the sales instead of being of service, like to
Mm,
people. And when I saw that, like, and I also found my avatar, like on a very deep level, like a very intuitive level, like the one that I wanted to attract into my business. And like the moment I came into service mode and vision mode again, like what is this really about? And I found like, well, I'm empowering people that just want to have a huge impact in the world and do good. Like that's when it just shifted again completely. And we went like from 5A to 6A, like within a couple of months, and went 6A like in 10 months or something. Like it was just this very clear shift that when you come like out of alignment with what you're really about, like it kind of reflects in your business. And then when you come in that complete joy and alignment, and like, whoa, yes, this is like what I'm doing. I'm so proud of it, and I know exactly why and how. It really just reflects very clearly in your business.
mm. Yeah,
Mm.
because even if you think of it more logically too, like if you are fixated on the next rank, what you are fixated on is your separation from it. You're fixated on your distance from it. So we're only going to experience more of that which holds our focus, right? This entire realm is created by thought and spoken words. So where is your energy going? If it's in, I need this to get to this, right? I'm this many sales away, I'm this many, it becomes constricted. And the thing we're focused on is the gap. Whereas, as Monica talked about the shift there, when you focus on the work, you focus on helping, you focus on creating, you focus on all of that, knowing that this takes care of itself. You can have an awareness of it, but all of a sudden now there's space for that. There's space for that to come through instead of the like constriction of, and it needed to happen. And so when you actually start to focus on the work, the fun, the creation, the connection, it's all of that just becomes like a tidal wave. It just builds momentum. There's a compound effect. And that's more fun anyway, I find. It's more fun to focus on that and look at that. And then no longer is our awareness on the gap. Our awareness is on the connection and how good it feels and the conversations we're having and how fun that is and seeing new people come through. That's where the results come from. Yeah. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions or shares or anything like that I want to share?
I just want to say that it was gold. Everything it's really helped me on so many of the things I have thought about and figure out. So I just want to say that. Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank
So
you.
glad. Thanks for sharing. That's the best part of these calls. It's like the numbers dwindle each call. I feel like we're gonna put something in and then be like, all right, if you don't get on calls, you're not in the group or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's that's the best
I
part
just
is
tagged everyone like, hello.
yeah, yeah. Um, that's the one of the better parts is like one, you can watch a replay and be like, oh, I got a lot from that. But it's being here and being in it and in this call. Not only do you get that experience, but you're there live with it. But then it's like, if there are thoughts that come or if there are questions or things you want to go through, well, now we're here. Now we can do that. Whereas if you're just catching the replay or following on, it's like half the time we're probably not even listening as closely as we are when we're on a call. But you don't get to be in it. You don't get to get the perspective or ask a question. If someone goes, oh, like I want to go a little deeper on that. I've not even thought about that. Let me ask about this. Or here's my unique situation. What can I do with it? So that's the best benefit for these calls. We can go back and forth in the groups, but we're all at different stages of the journey, but we're all learning similar stuff together. And so we can all share from different lenses and different perspectives, and we all get to, it's like we get to learn the lesson together and move forward instead of all fractured learning the lesson by ourselves and going, okay, cool, got it, and move forward. It's like we can leap further forward and faster
Yeah.
by learning from each other.
I think unfortunately there were some people having a launch just today. I mean, we moved the call, so I think they were having, like Cecilia and some others, I think they're
Oh,
having
awesome.
like a
Yeah.
a webinar or a launch of some sort today. So that might explain some of it.
Oh, no, honestly, I'm not too fussy
They
about
are
that.
on a health market. What do you say?
A
We had
heart
our
stroke.
webinar actually on Sunday, this on the event, because the 90 days we had like a assignment to make our own webinar. So we did that in a very high and energetic
Oh, wow.
level, but maybe not the best one, like information wise, but the energy in the team was really good.
Yeah, I was watching. It was really good.
And I had all the technical things on me because I am the one who, and it's really funny, but it is like it is in our team. So I was really stressed out. So I was like, oh, okay, get everything working. But we did make it through, and this is also funny how I felt like, because Cecilia, my upline, but we started at 1A at the same time, so we kind of follow each other. So she got like 40 leads to the webinar, and I get none to this webinar. And I have to hustle. And, I have done an ad. I have done a... but I have some leads, and they are really high quality leads. They are really interesting into the business. Then they are not so many, but they are really high quality. And which is good because I'm projector. If you know human design, if I get too many, I can't handle it, like energy wise. So this is too fun, but she has I think she is okay. I share this because she has the manifester. She's the one who you take the lead in a different way, and then me is more like you get to know for a while. And but she has a problem to convert them. She actually, we had a call with Patricia and in the 90 days. And yeah, it's so funny how we in the team, and for me it came to me as I need to do my own webinar in my way. Also, I don't mind doing it together with the team, but for me it's like I interviewed Patricia here, and we have similar background, and I know kind of how I would approach it. Thanks to you, Patricia, as well, because we work crossover, and that's very nice. So yeah, so and thank you for all this conversation about the vision, because I'm all about the vision. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing, Marie, because I think it's really nice that you do it together so you can support each other. But it's also nice to hear that perhaps it's also good to do your own thing as well.
Yeah, and it's understanding, as you said, where we've sort of always done it, but then realizing, oh, actually, I want to sort of focus a little bit this way, and there's enough of a difference where, if you're doing it together, it's almost like you're watering down both of your ideal kind of conversation to kind of cover the in-between of both markets. Whereas if you get really clear and go, there's difference here, we'll then create specifics. You can guest feature, like be testimonies or a little share or whatever in each other's, but then run it in your own way where it really speaks to your market. That's where that next leap is. And sometimes people try to do that from the beginning, and it's like maybe sometimes they're running before they're walking. And it's like, just get used to kind of webinars, get used to promoting and doing these things, and then once you feel confident, then go for it. And for some people, they've been presenting and pitching and running webinars, and whatever else for ages, and they just can like come in and, okay, we'll do our own one, we'll go for it. And yeah, you just got to figure out what that is for you on your journey. But that's awesome that you're starting to do your own. And yeah, it would have been funny you guys doing a webinar on the Sunday after the event. Like you, you should have been like, bzzz, like vibrating here, and everyone else is coming in being like, what have these guys taken?
Yeah, yeah, it was like that. And
Yeah.
I could hardly speak in the beginning because, all technical stuff. When find a spot on the hotel, and I had to enroll a guardian there. We need to sit there because that's the quiet place, and all these things that have to happen before we can
Yeah.
or even set it up. Now we've been running our own webinars since me and Cecilia went with Maria. It's a cross line, Maria and Victor, but Maria invited us to be in a mentorship for 1 year. So we but then she started to focus on her team, which is totally okay, because you need that too. We needed to do our own thing. So that's what we have done. So I'm ready, and I'm a coach and done webinars in different areas before. So it's just, I need to be focused at one thing at a time, because that's my biggest scare, actually, to be too exhausted. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
It's oh, so you want to go, Anne Catherine?
No, I can relate to what you say, Marie. I'm afraid of getting more exhausted. But yeah, sorry, I didn't want to
No,
interrupt.
no, it's perfect. Yeah, I think you've got to figure out what your role is when you're getting started. So if you say choose to be the connector, and so you're not going to necessarily be like running your own webinars and stuff, I'm not at that stage yet. Okay, then be really good at being the connector. So don't try and overdo it and present and pitch or pre-pitch or whatever else. It's like be the connector and then the edifier, and back it up or handle questions afterwards. If you are the presenter and stuff too, cool. We'll be that role and understand what we're doing. But if you say you're going to be the connector early on, a key part of that is, what are you connecting them with? Is there a great webinar that really connects with your audience? Or at least, is there a really great webinar that you can do a great job of building the bridge between and ensuring that what you market and how you talk about and how you essentially present it, it is backed up by them, what they learn or what they go through and consume. And then you can handle questions and stuff too. So it's, if you're going to be that role for now and get the sales going and rolling, perfect, be that. If you're going to be the presenter and stuff as well and market that, okay, factor that role in as well. Are you going to be doing the sales calls afterwards, or you're not? And just knowing the key steps and the key parts of the business and knowing your role and getting really good at that. If you do that and you have the right, the right presentation, then things start to flow a little better. But sometimes, we're the connector and we either are just plugging them into a webinar that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but we're just like, it's the webinar, it should work. Or two, we over deliver and we tell too much and we're talking about all these things and trying to answer questions before someone's even seen a webinar. And then we're like, holy shit, what do I say? And then now they're asking me, how much is it? I'm like, how the fuck are we even in this question? What the fuck is going on? Like, the webinar's not for 3 days. Do I just ghost them? Do I not respond? Like, what do I do here? And everyone sort of does that at the start. We just say too much and we're like, oh, how do I get out of this? But it's just like going, okay, what role am I in right now? And what's good for me? And what would mastering this role look like? And simplifying it for yourself. And that's what I recommend for most people when they're getting started. Just be a great connector. Be a great bridge builder for people. Show them the bridge you walked. Because more often than not, when we're getting started too, we're not made mega bucks or we're not XYZ rank or all this sort of stuff. We're very much in our inspired vision, in inspired action from it. We've walked across the bridge and we are a couple steps further than where we were when we were looking from the outside in. And we feel, we go to an event like Wild and Free, all these sort of things, or we're on these calls, and we all of a sudden we're like, man, actually feel like I'm dreaming again, or I feel like I'm, connected to my heart after being closed down for so long, or, I don't feel as tired because now I have something in my life that it's like exciting, and I'm around people that actually think or feel like me, and it feels so refreshing. Like, whatever the story is, that's enough. As Manik talked about before, Balaj saying, it's like being in integrity and truthful where you're at. And so if you allow that light to shine, you allow your story to shine, and you be a great connector, and you're connecting with something awesome that relates, that's where you start to get your results. That's that 1A to 4A kind of journey.
Yeah, and also being authentic with, like, I don't know all the details. To say that I don't know is very important, but that you can say, like, just share your story and share your excitement, and then say, but come on to this webinar, or like meet Monica or Andy, or your upline, and they will explain it to you. Like, just actually just instill that curiosity in people. Like, you're not going to like, not like, oh, I'm going to sell this to you and this is about this and da da da, to just really be authentic. Well, I don't know all the details, but jump on here, and like, hear this, because it's so important. Like, it's so valuable. It's brought so much value to my life, and I really want to show this to you, because then people will just jump on really curious and like open and happy, and not like have too many. When you get, like Andy said in the beginning, if you go into too many details where you kind of put yourself in a corner and you can't really answer, or you're like, oh, I don't really understand this, like I can't say anything, but you then it becomes like overcomplicated. You don't have to complicate it like that. It's, at least in the beginning, after a while, when you've gotten into it and you feel the heart in the details, and you're passionate about the details, or them by heart, like, of course, like, just go for it. Like, that's great. But really take that, like, surf on the team, like really do that surfing, where you take help, and also, like you said, Marie, like, just maybe in the beginning when you do webinars, like, jump on and do a testimonial on like your upline's webinars, or just feel the feel of being a part of it. And actually that can also lift you up a lot in the eyes of the people that you bring in, if you just do like a short testimonial and tell your story. And then, the next time you might take a section of the webinar, and then the next time you like might take the half of the webinar, and then in the end, it's so much by heart that you can actually adapt it into, well, this feels right for me, and you find your own way of doing it. But like, really, it's doing it in steps, and just taking those small steps that challenge you just enough, like one step at a time. And then, of course, like after a while, like Marie, like you're 4A, and then you start to really step into your own like branding, your own showing your own heart, and like showing your way of doing this. And then it's more like, okay, now I'm going into full expression mode. Like, okay, don't hold back, like, and like really leave the rest behind. Because I had that too, because I had like Tarek and Chanel in my upline, and I had other people I was looking up to. And then at one point I was like, oh my God, I need to let go of all of those, because I'm not them. I'm not like them. They were like people running on the beach, and oh, everyone looks so pretty and so nice. And I was like, when I found my avatar, it's like, no, I'm not like that. I'm much more raw, and much more like, okay, the rebel side was just very clear. Like, I'm much more like, okay, freedom, like freedom, in Braveheart, that kind of thing. And when I honored that, it was such a relief, because I let that go. And I also felt like I want to be very clear and transparent with everything, like with the water, with the business, like with all the different aspects. And because otherwise it felt like I was kind of fooling people with some romantic, fluffy picture that wasn't true for me. And that was me. Like, of course, people, that's true for someone else to do, and I don't judge it. But when I found that in me, it was such a relief, because I could be myself, and I could do it in a way that was truly passionate for me. And then I also found people that were just the same as me. and it clicked, because when you're not in alignment, you might get a lot of leads, but you're not making sales, you're not doing the conversions. That's where I was at in this dry period. I was having like 50 leads per week. Like there was no lack of leads. It was just boom, like lots and lots of leads. I had no sales because I hadn't understood my avatar. I hadn't understood like what was true for me. Once I really clicked what was true for me, then the conversion started happening, like boom, boom, boom. Because when I met someone, it was like, wow, we were like so family, like feels like I just know you like forever. And it's like, wow, let's work together. and you're just in so much alignment, and you just lift each other up. So yeah, that is so important to do it your way. And then on the way, of course, look up to others, be inspired by others, like jump onto their things, like until you are like, wow, but here I am. And then you just go full on expression with that.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, what you're just saying, it reminds me of literally like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so the gym me and my son go to, and I watch his classes. So he's in the youngest group, 3 to 5. He turns 5 at the beginning next year. And he's only started in the last few months, and he's loving it and enjoying it. And there's the main teacher, but the main teacher there is not a black belt. The actual head of the gym and so on, it doesn't teach the youngest kids. So he's teaching the fundamentals in the older class and the competition and so on. But there's a brown belt, and which is, he's been doing it for a long time. He's a great martial artist, and he teaches the kids, and he has a lot of patience. But not only that, he has some kids that are probably 10, 12, 13, that are further in their journey, that have been doing it for a few years, and they're assistant teachers. So they're not there running the class, but they are there teaching the little kids. And I've talked to Kate, and I've talked to her parents that were here at the time recently, and I was just saying it's such a fundamental part of learning as well. It's not just learning it or experiencing, going through the lessons and learning for ourselves, but then our ability to re-articulate it, our ability to teach it or share it with others is a fundamental part of us absorbing it and understanding and embodying something. And I see that with these kids, like they're great, little weapons, but you can see this is a fundamental part of their learning and their journey, and you can see it woven into the journey of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu martial artist, and on the journey to black belt, which is 10 plus 20 years sometimes, like you can see that. You can see the different phases and the different steps that are there. It's the same thing here that Monica just described. You are initially the student, the learning and being and absorbing it all, and then it's like you just help out where you can. And same thing with the class. When we're all there, it doesn't matter what belt you are or how long you've been doing it, we're all there at the end with towels wiping up all of our sweat on the mats. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or you're barely getting government checks or whatever. It's like we're all on our hands and knees, we're all wiping up sweat together, we're all contributing and doing our part. And so these lessons that I see in this business, exactly what Monica just described. Same thing. So it's just be at the stage you are. Do your part, learn where you can, increase your skills, take a little risk here and there, but just be on that journey, And even something like that, when we look at it, to say go into that and I'm like, I want to be a black belt. I know the weight of that statement. And even still, I actually don't know the weight of it to truly be that. I know the weight of the perceived understanding of what it takes to get there. So for me to say that, if I truly mean it, I know that I'm then saying, I want to do this multiple nights a week for 10 years of my life minimum. And I want to be completely dominated, submitted, tapped out by people half my size, choked out, suffocated, beaten, bashed, and go against everyone in my gym multiple times when I need to be graded and be absolutely exhausted, dripping in sweat, feel like I just want to tap out and quit. That's what I want. So do I want that? Am I really saying that? There's a healthy respect for it. And I know that I'm committing to do this for a long time. Do you hold that same respect to do what we're talking about here, to build this business? Or are you looking at like who did it the fastest, quickest? Like, okay, what do they do? How do I do it? How do I just quickly get to where I want to go? How do I just? Oh, it's the lessons. Why am I here? Just it's not working for me. It's so frustrating. Let me just tap out for a bit and then try and come back, and then it'll be different, and I won't have to deal with the lessons I'm dealing with right now, or whatever else we go through. Bring that same respect, that same like, cool, 10 years, let's go. Whatever happens on this journey, I'm just here for 10 years. There'll be some shitty parts, but there'll be some great parts. And I get to learn and grow. And I just know that this pathway, at least for the next 10 years, and the people I'm surrounded by, only goodness can come from this. Regardless of where I end up. Like, I can only experience myself in a greater way. I can only learn more things. I can only learn more about myself. And then just be in it. You know where you're going. It's almost like you're on the highway. You got a few hundred kilometers or 500 k's to go. It's like hundreds of miles. It sucks, but I'm going to be driving for hours and hours. So may as well have fun on the way. There's no way of like, I just wish I could be teleported there. Like, why can't we just ascend to 4D or whatever it is? You know, like you're just going to be on the journey. And so if you can bring that healthy respect for yourself and that level of commitment, it also becomes a lot more, I think it's forgiving of yourself. You're probably a lot more kind to yourself on the journey too. And I know we were talking before, so I just wanted to share where I thought of it around like not oversharing or not knowing the details or whatever. Sometimes people are like, I don't know what to say in that thing. And Monica gave an example. Some others can be, you know, it's almost a bit self-deprecating, but it's like, oh, honestly, I'm terrible at remembering all the details properly. I'd rather you hear it how I heard it. Honestly, you need to listen to them. They're the expert. Just come listen or come watch this. Or another one is kind of I said at the end there, so she's like, I'd love for you to hear it how I heard it. You know, I don't want to do a disservice. So just another version of that can sometimes, without saying that, you know, because I've said I don't know all the details as well, and I think it sparks curiosity in some, and then sometimes I've also seen that where that person goes, well, like especially if they're busy, it almost like sometimes can devalue your recommendation. It's like, well, if you don't even know, you know, it's almost like how do you say, if you're recommending like a restaurant or recommending a movie or a meal or something, it's like, what was so great about it? It's like, you got to share something, you know, you got to share it in a certain way that at least gets them to go. And I found sometimes saying I don't know all the details, it works for most, but the particular person I find that's like busy or short in time, sometimes that for them is this is not worth my time now, because it's almost like, well, why are you so emphatic if you don't know? You know, if you can't back it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I've personally found that with people that are really busy. So that's why I'll use the other one I was saying of like, you know, I was sort of self-deprecating, but it's like, oh, I'm not great at just remembering all the details, and I've only heard it recently, but I want you to hear it and hear it from them, because yeah, it's so exciting. I'm so excited by it, and normally that will move someone forward in that instance. Yeah.
But I was thinking about also like with the martial arts story, and because in Germany also this spring Mr. Shir was there, and one of the things that he talked about, which is something that I've had to kind of befriend, because it's about discipline, and actually the good thing, like the good thing about discipline, like I've grown up like a hippie child, you know, like parents all confused and like they don't remember stuff. And I have not learned discipline from my parents, I can tell you that. But still, you know, I got like the highest grades through all school and everything, like, because and in a way I have a deep sense of discipline, but I just had to kind of redo the idea of discipline in my mind, that it's not something forceful, it's not something that goes against you, it's something that you do for you. You know the difference, because we've kind of brainwashed and we've grown up into discipline being something forceful against you, like, oh, you're disciplined in class, you're disciplined to do stuff, like it's a contraction, like it's a tension around it. But what I've found is that discipline can really be your best friend. Like discipline can actually is something that creates that sense of security and that sense of self-trust, that I can actually trust that I am doing what is necessary to bring myself to my vision. You see? It's like building a staircase towards your vision. Well, yeah, you have to put in the nails and, you know, do the measurements, and it's a lot of practical things, and it's a lot of things to actually do, the nitty-gritties, or like drawing the weed, like Dolores said, and she's actually very good at it, and I think I am too. Like, I've learned to to have that discipline. When you fall in love with the discipline, that when you see that that is the pathway to your vision, that is the pathway to get to a place. And so I've actually, through this business, that is something, I've been this kind of visionary, like lots of love and blah blah blah, you know, all of that. But then I've actually learned the discipline and the structure, and like now I have like Trello boards, and I have everything organized, and I have like, you know, schedules for a year forward, like, and aims and goals, and because that is the structure that I know that then I can just it's like the path, like laying the path that I then just can walk. Like, I'm very time conscious, and all of that I've actually learned lots of it through this community. Like, if you watch like Scott Oldford, like he's actually helped me a lot to have that structure around my vision, because and to do like, yeah, you might have weekly schedules where like Monday I do this, Tuesday that, and have time schedules, and like this month my main goal is to be finished with this, because it makes it secure, it makes it held, it makes it, you see the path, and it actually helps you relax. That's what I feel. Like, before, discipline was something stressful, but when you see discipline as something very relaxing, because when the mind comes to you with like, oh, you need to do that, you need to do this, then, you know, tell those thoughts like, well, yeah, I have time for that over there, like on Thursday. You don't need to bother me any longer. Like, I have a space for you there. Don't worry. Like, but now I'm doing this. And like this whole day, this is what I'm doing, nothing else. And those things like are so important in doing this, because that is the actual, when you're building a house, that is like laying the foundation, doing the walls, like putting the windows, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, there, wow, I built a house. How did that happen? Like it was all those things put together, and like where we are at now, like, wow, we built this whole movement, like we built this whole Wild Free Festival, like we're free, like me and Christopher, like we're living our this beautiful life, like, but it was those small little steps, like, okay, figuring out like, how do I do a webinar, how do I work in Keynote, how do I do Canva, how do I best, you know, formulate this so that I reach exactly my avatar. Like, it's all those that's done this in the end. So yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, or it is a little bit what we were talking about, you know, finding your who you want to be, and you know, your idol. I always feel it's come back to your ideal avatar, or what you want to call it. So for me, I just want I find that, like, when I look at leaders in the streets, all of them have something that, you know, I really love and can learn something from. But I'm still a little bit searching for my my, you know, the one, and I know she's out there somewhere. So you might maybe know, you know, someone that I want to step more into, that, you know, that person. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying here. I felt it was a little bit not clear formulated, but okay. So my ideal avatar is, you know, a coach or a space holder in some sense, and someone that have found this business and feel that, wow, this goes so well with what I'm already doing in my code, my in my whatever I'm. Yeah, I think it's more like coaches in some way, and they have just plugged into this and they just see how well it suits. I can see it, so I had kind of created my whole own masterclass for this, and it's totally different from the freedom eras. I don't have the 3 pillars because it's like no, that's not the main focus. It's a little bit like, if what would have drawn me in directly, because what I saw first was the product, and I loved the product. I fall in love with that, but I couldn't see how it went together, without what I even a few minutes ago was like, yeah, I mean, you can do it, but I couldn't. So now I speak like super clear how I see my vision and how I see this goes together. So what I'm trying to look at is like people that do similar, that I could also like, I wouldn't say model, but get more inspired, get inspired by even more, that, wow, yeah, they're doing it. And like, if you get what I mean. So yeah, is there someone you are thinking of that I could binge?
Cool.
Stalk.
Firstly, just realized I wasn't muted when I blew my nose, so sorry for deafening all of you. And then 2, can I ask, this new presentation that you've created, and the way you're presenting it all, how many have you done so far?
Yeah, I have just started. I did it first this week. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
How'd that go?
and then, no, it was, yeah, it went well, but I think for being my first master class is like really good, but then some years after I will probably like, oh my God. But what I felt is that I didn't nearly promote it because I didn't know if I would, manage to finish it before.
Yep.
So I was like, and I was a little bit, I have never heard someone present it in this way, like, a little bit, I haven't spoken these words. So I kind of wish that no one was going to show up. And so I was like not promoting it much. But now I'm like, yeah, but this feels really good now. And the few that came was like, wow, yeah, very inspiring, and so on. So, and now I have recorded it, and yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So what I would ask you is, if you like get honest with yourself and feel into your heart when I ask this, the wanting to find someone else that's sort of doing it to look at theirs and so on, is it more about almost like by seeing it, it's like a permission that like you're doing it right, or like, yes, it can work, or whatever else for your own self, than it is about, oh, let me get better and let me do like this sort of thing? Like, do you feel like if I could see someone or find someone that's doing it like a coach and it's sort of like this, or I can model them, then it's almost like it's, yes, you are on the right path, or yes, you are doing it right for yourself?
Yeah, I feel it's a little bit what I would feel, I think, if I stepped into, one of the festival or something, and you hear and you just feel, wow, yeah, they are doing it. So yeah, it is a little bit like that. The first, it's like, it kind of give me a more, not permission, because I know I have permission, but I'm also, since I haven't seen someone really doing it like this, my identity is like kind of, I feel like quite fragile around this right now. I'm like shifting my identity. So I'm in this middle ground. So it would help me to just see someone that rock in this that was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're doing good, yes. And then they probably do it of course they do it
Yeah.
different because they're different person, So
Yeah. So, just to feed it back to you, what I would heard there is seeing that would give you the reassurance it's almost like safe or good to keep doing what you're doing.
yeah, I think so.
And I like I would say for you, you've only just started. What space you're in now, it is that uncomfortable. It's the new, right?
Yeah.
You've stretched into the new, and so everything feels like, whoa, like it's not all stable, or like we're on the ship all of a sudden. And it's like I would really like everything just to calm a little bit and feel really confident and clear in what I'm doing and what I'm saying and what I've always been, the things we've always done and it's the norm. I want to get to that feeling. And what I would say is that feeling is not found through something external. It's going to be found by you just doing it over and
Yeah.
over. And I would say to go to the external path to give you something, it's probably going to rob you from the greatest medicine in this experience for you, which is what it feels like to really trust yourself and stretch into the unknown and be in that like, ooh, this feels a bit scary, and like putting myself out, and it feels raw, like I'm really sharing all of me here. It's like naked on stage in front of 10,000 people. Didn't you have a dream like that recently? I think you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like you're there, and the medicine is like, like I can hold myself in this space, and I
Yeah.
can keep moving forward, and I affirm the ground that I stand on by the
Yeah.
actions that I take. The conviction and my self-assurance and my confidence and my trust comes from me showing up at the gym every day. Not in the result, or not in someone else telling me that I did it right, or not in seeing someone else kind of doing like me. So, okay, cool. And I keep going. It's trust yourself. Like, trust the
Yeah.
creativity that's coming through you, trust the uniqueness, trust your message, and just keep going. And like choose the experience of like, yeah, I could go to that and look for that, but I actually know if I just take it back and I just go, this feels a little, but I'm going to
Yeah.
choose to really see this as like an opportunity to hold myself and trust myself here. And what I would say with what you're presenting is, if you haven't already, reach out or I go to the upline or so on and say, this is the presentation. Here's, do you feel like it effectively covers this? This is what I want to get across. This is my message. This is so on. Do you feel I'm effectively doing this? Or is there anything you could see here? If you want a bit of feedback, then do that. But I would first say do a few just to like get it out there and do that and feel what it feels like, and be like, I'm happy with this presentation. I'd like to get some feedback on it now. Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
because
be
I
my
feel
piece of advice to you.
yeah, thank you so much. And I know I want to tweak the presentation more. I mean, that's will always happen. I mean, it will be tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. So it's not like and finish always gonna be like this. But But what I want to say is thank you. You gave me permission. No, no, you did. But I love what you're saying, because what I would say is like you just reaffirming what I have said to myself, actually. I work a lot with EFT tapping, and not every morning, but nearly every morning, I'm like, yeah, it's safe for me to feel this way, this right now, and this is for me, because I'm gonna understand where other people feeling, when they feel this and they can't find their ground. It's exactly how it should be. So I go around and I just say these things to me, and I know it's like just this shift in identity, and then I'm gonna come to one stage, and then it's going to come again. It's like not that it's always going to be stable, and then that's it. So it's just I feel this makes me more, it's going to make me stronger, like for the future as well. So yeah, so I'm just going to go with my thing and see.
But I remember the first time I went live. I'd never been live on Facebook, like, ever. I was writing a little bit like usual post this and there, and I started to learn this, and I understood, like, wow, this is going live. It must be important, So, and it felt like, just like you said, it felt like I had no clothes on, and I was just like completely naked in front of like 1,000 people or something. It really felt that way. Like, what am I doing? What am I about? Like, and like I can really feel that. Like, in the beginning, it was like just writing a post that I knew was the start of, this journey, was also like very vulnerable. And then, I just kept on like challenging myself, just speaking from the heart, speaking of the heart. And in the end, like, I came to that point where I was like, you know what? Like Andy said, like, I have to trust that I am enough. Like, the way I am, what I am, that is enough. Like, because I had this, what the insecurity was about was that, like, am I enough? Like, am I good enough just as I am, as my authentic self? And like, people are going to see me like as myself, my authentic self. Is that enough? And actually, in the end, it was like, well, who defines that? Like, who defines what is enough? Isn't it like me that has to value myself first? Like, to give myself permission that I am enough. Because, like, if you meet 1,000 people, you're going to have 1,000 different stories of who I am, right? You're going to have a lot of different, like, and during these years, I've kind of been like impregnated against it. It's like you have people that like lift you to heaven and then just want to dig you into the ground, and like all in between. It's like, well, guess what? I know who I am now. Like, I've the one of the best things that this business has given to me is that, like, I'm solid within myself. I was just talking to Christopher about it because my father passed away. It's been a huge journey, but I told him, like, I'm so happy that I have it's like a fundamental building block. I don't know, like the foundation of your house, I'm so happy that it's inside of me and not outside of me, because it's like, it's not much that can actually, like, get me off my feet, because I have the foundations of being myself, of being myself, of loving myself, and knowing who I am inside of me. So no matter, what people say or what happens in life, or of course, I've just, like, yesterday I was just crying the whole evening because I needed to cry, like, because of my father. But I let it all be, but it doesn't throw me off my core. Like, I know who I am. And I think that's one of the most important journeys we can all do, in this business and in our lives, actually, like, to have those foundations not outside of us, like getting the confirmation or recognition or whatever outside of you, but to have that inside of you. Because then like nothing can throw you off balance in a way. And of course, you can go deep into that rabbit hole. It's like, okay, get philosophical and everything, but it's really like, who are you really? And what do you choose to be? What do you choose to value, like, inside of you? And how much are you, like, deciding that for yourself? And how much do you let others decide that?
So beautifully said. I know Patricia, I think, bounced off, she might come back, but it pretty much what I was alluding to was that, yeah, sometimes the external thing outside of us, when we're looking for like confirmation or permission or anything of the sort, we can start to mold ourselves to it when it's too close to us. So in that example, it's like, yes, might want to see a coach doing it in a similar way that, just doing it, and you know, all of a sudden, and do it with pure intent of like, this will help me feel more stable or more confident in what I'm doing, all of a sudden I might be like, oh, they did that way, or I like the way they said that, or this thing, and all of a sudden that weaves into what she's creating. And then it's like we never truly get her creation and her medicine, or exactly the way she's doing it first. And then you can't give the real feedback to that, or you can't measure how that's going because it's diluted. It's other things as well. And so some you know, that's our life as everything is, right? We're constantly externally bombarded with things. But when you can recognize that potentially there's an influence, or potentially there's things around us that are impacting or dictating or not allowing us to really form that connection or boldly step into the new that Monica talked about and Patricia's done as well, sometimes it is to disconnect or to separate. I even did this, you know, about 2 years ago. I was feeling leading up to my second son being born. I was like, what I'm doing, the way that I'm doing it now, isn't fully me. Like, it's not fully right. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but there's just something new that's coming through, and I don't know what it is. But the thing that I could feel was I've been playing, you know, all of life is playing characters, but like I've been playing this character of online business person, teaching, running things, marketing, whatever else for almost a decade. And if this is still going on right now, whatever this newness is to come through, it's like, that's like a warm bath. It's just too easy to slip back into. I've done it for so long, it's so unconscious. And so for me, it made no sense logically up here. You know, I've got business online, I've got these things, but it's like, I need to fully disconnect off socials, off everything, and just be with my son when he's born, be in nature, light fires every day, you know, these sort of things, whatever was coming through for me. And it ended up being this, you know, incredible, say, spiritual journey, and different things opening up for me in the last couple of years, and so on. But for me in that moment, scary as shit to like deactivate or delete or just completely go, all right, step back and like, you know, creator, take the fucking wheel, you know, like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and be at peace with that, which I definitely was not at peace with that to start with. And so yeah, so it's quite often just when you can feel like there's almost like an attachment that's there, you know, I encourage you to have the courage to hold oneself and to step forward into that unknown and trust yourself. Trust that, like, look back on everything you've been through to get to where you are today and know how capable you are. Whatever that next terrain is, or that next expansion of yourself, it's like deeply trust it and back yourself. And yeah, be truthful with where you might be kind of warped or influenced by those external attachments too. Have a healthy kind of honest relationship with oneself.
Mm. And then just to add, I mean, the beginning for me also, I mean, it's so important with, like, when you get inspired by someone else, and I was looking at like, oh, this is successful people in this business. How are they posting? What are they doing? What kind of like funnels do they have? Like how do they work? But as long as you're clear, standing in the way you want to do it, and you just, you know, get inspired by it, and not like, oh, feel bad about it, like, oh, I have to be like them, or like, you know, do you see the difference? It's like one thing to be inspired and like, whoa, wow, they're doing it. I'm so happy for them. And I'm like, yeah, I can take bits and pieces there and bits and pieces there that feels aligned with me. And it boosts you, you know, it brings you forward to look at these people and like, wow, yeah, I really like the way, you know, they do those photographs or do that webinar, or, you know, that's just a natural way of learning, right? That we look at others and we mimic, and we, like children do, like, and that we do all the time. And that's just really beautiful. So I would really go out there and look as well, and then bring it back to your own integrity and trust in your authentic self, like to have that balance.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's never the way someone's doing something. It's like the frequency, it's the essence. Like what's working for someone and how they're doing it. It's so often that it's just so congruent. You know, like it. I've seen even just in our business alone, let alone outside of it, there's just so many different people doing it so many different ways, and it's just not the way. It's someone's pure like clarity of one, their heart, their essence, their frequency, that the connection of it, and that people can feel that, and people align with that what they're doing, and so we can convince ourselves it's like, oh, it's because they did a 20 minute webinar. I've been doing 45, or it's because they had two testimonies instead of I don't have one, you know, or we do the testimonies in the group, we don't do it on the webinar, like, and you can lose yourself like neurosis, just fucking chasing rabbit holes. And so, yeah, that honestly, one of the hardest things when you get started with, it's like the blessing is the curse. So much available to you, so many examples, so many options, so many webinar, like all this stuff. But that's the curse too, because you rob yourself of the, you know, it's like the grind, but it's like the commitment to keep moving forward and testing and learning and just picking a course and charting it, because we end up doing like, well, do it for 2 weeks, nothing there. 2 weeks, nothing there. 2 weeks, nothing there. It'd be like going to a new gym, signing up for like every couple of days. Like, that gym didn't work for me. I didn't get the results in the 2 days. Next gym, next gym, next gym. And it's like, shit, if you just, you know, stuck with the one and found a good routine and a flow and built it into your life, like, you create the result. And so, yeah, just, I don't know how to describe it properly, but it's just, it's like that healthy self honesty, like with oneself, of when you see yourself start to attach or start to try and replicate, or you have the thoughts where you're like, oh, it's because they do da, 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 and I can't, like, bullshit, 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 you know, just like let it all go and come back to like, I'm just creating 10 years. I'm here, I'm moving forward, keep refining, keep growing, keep learning, and enjoy the process.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah. There's
Yes.
amazing few
Yes.
years ahead, like
S-
for everyone in this group.
Sorry, I dropped out there, so I don't know if you were still answering my question. I guess so.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
we're just talking about how, like, the importance of having your foundations inside of you, like, and the balance between like being inspired by others and then like bringing it back to like trusting yourself fully and who you
Yeah,
are,
yeah,
and just,
yeah,
yeah, giving yourself permission to be your authentic self and show that to the world, you know, even like more and more all the time.
mm,
yeah, yeah. No, it's really a balance, but and it's always like inspiring to then see someone that kind of come from a similar something as you. I remember I was a part of Mind Valley. That's where I did my business coaching certification, if you know Mind Valley. And what I really took away from there, I took away this business coaching, but what I really saw there was that, because I haven't seen so much role models like big out, international, be very successful, and they are not fluent in English, you know, that they are a little bit, their English is a little bit like, you know, not perfect like mine. And then when I saw those leaders there, and I was like, you know, it's like I just felt so like I can also do this. They yeah, they are not perfect in English, and look what they are creating. So it's a little bit like that for me. I feel that yeah, kind of just give an example, and that can be very, yeah, feels really good to
mm,
see. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Um, can, can I feed something back to you, or reflect something back to you, what you're saying? Oh,
Are you there? Did she jump out again, or it looks like she's still there?
yeah.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear us, Patricia?
No, seems no.
Well, we'll give her like 30 seconds so to see if she comes back. Just wanted to go back to what you said, Monica, of like discipline and structures. Like I say, is part of that. And you said about like force, and that's such a key thing. And I see it also more so almost like with the feminine energy. It can feel like constriction or like trapped or these sort of things. Like even Kate talks so much about this with me. And so we have this like resistance, especially if there's like a rebellious spirit to discipline or structure. And again, it's like forcing us, or I don't feel like it today, or it doesn't feel aligned for me, or whatever else. Instead of I had like a visual of it. I always say is like discipline or structure. It's like it supports you. So instead of that almost like wall of force pushing you, it sits under you, and so it holds you on the days that you get up and you go, not today, I don't know. And it's like, then there's this foundation that you're already on. That's like, wait, what's my schedule, or what's my discipline? What am I committed to? This. And the real growth is so much more seen in the days when we don't want to, the days when it doesn't feel good, the days when it's like, no, not really gonna feel up to it today, or I didn't wake up bouncing out of bed, I feel a bit shitty, It's like the willingness to move forward and to honor a trajectory of like what you say you want, or what you want to experience, or what you want to create or attain, and you can still do the things that actually help us get there. Again, the gym's the thing we kept going back to, but it's like, if you have this goal of fit, strong, flexible, healthy, whatever it may be, in truth, if you're not that right now, that's more so about the days that you don't feel like moving or don't feel like training or doing that than the days that you do. If you were able to just change the days you don't feel like doing it, you wouldn't be in the situation you are now. And so that discipline or that structure becomes this foundational thing that, as long as you stick to it and you're committed to it, it's the thing that holds you and moves forward. It's like the masculine and the feminine. The structure is what holds the feminine. The masculine allows the feminine to experience and express and be free, and not be like, what have I got to do? It's like, you live in the house. How do you want to color it and experience it? What pillars you want? Like, it's the feeling element of it all, as opposed to, okay, but what do I need to get done first? It's like, you just get to be. Hey, Patricia, you back?
Yes, I don't know what's happening with my phone. I'm so sorry. So
No, that's all
yeah,
good.
but
It's all good.
yeah, I'm gonna listen to the recording, so you know what I missed.
No, you're
Yeah.
right. Give me one. Got these really bad allergies at the moment tonight. So we were just talking about something else, just hoping you'll kind of come back. So I was going to ask, can I reflect something back to you with what you were sharing?
Yes.
Before, is what you were sharing about just like wanting, or what you shared even with the coaching and like seeing someone, is there's one way of going about it, which is what you experienced and what you described. But can you see how the feeling, or the like you had prior to that, and wanting to see that, like wanting to have that shown to you, is more about the story you had of, from this example, like broken English or not that good in English means XYZ.
Yes.
It's not about that that's the truth, and then when I finally have that, I feel better. The only reason that was so for you is because you have a story or some conditioning, or someone told you, or it's what you believed, or what someone said, that is the case. And so then you carry that and you live with that and you adopt it. So you live into it, or you wrestle with it internally, being like, no, I feel like I know I can, but and so you live with that until you see someone else doing it, or someone else doing it, and you're like, if they can, I can. Sweet. Finally, like, I can do this. I really can do this now. And it's like that noise or that voice then gets quietened down. It's like, no, I got proof otherwise, so I'm good. And maybe it rears its head again. Maybe it's like, well, maybe I need one more after a while. I need to see another person doing it. But and so the path that you're describing is what one can do and many can do. The one that I'm recommending now is, instead of looking for the external to appease the feeling, instead look at the feeling and where it comes from, and almost question its origin, question its truth, and then reaffirm yourself as the creator, and that no one else needs to walk this path first or done it sort of like me to prove that it can work, and that, or that it, I'm on the right track, or that I can do it too, or anything of the sort, and know that if anything, if no one's done it before, like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm blazing the trail. And with that comes, I've got to cut down more weeds to make the path. It's a bit more labor intensive to go first, but those who go first reap the rewards. And so there's medicine and there's magic in you being a trailblazer. And yeah, when there's the I want to see, or I hope, like, that feeling there, let that be a little, like, ding, like a bell ring. Just go, hang on, pause, and just come back into, like, why do I want that? Like, what does that give me? What's the payoff for me getting that or seeing that? What I really want. And then there's the logical, like, well, it would tell me I'm on the right track. I don't waste my time. I don't make webinars that then they don't work, and da-da-da-da-da. But know that everything's emotionally driven. So, like, what does it give me? And why don't I feel that yet? Or why am I, why do I feel like I need more of that if I don't feel it now? What's going on? And if you can allow that external desire to instead be a little trigger to look internally, you'll leap through these transgressions as they come up. And you'll more quickly feel deeply ingrained in yourself of, like, confident, creative. I'm not even looking for something. I'm just creating. It's fun. Like, I got an idea. I got this is how I see it. Boom, boom, boom. Keep moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, because then I can do whatever, really.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's no limits then.
You already can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're just such an amazing creative soul, and with such a beautiful, beautiful heart. Like, I know I mean, you are on the right track, whatever you're doing, because you are so integrated with that. And I completely trust you with what you do, because I've seen you and what you represent and what you want to do in the world, and it's just so beautiful. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Monica was
And
singing your
I
praises before I met you.
and I also, like, if you need any feedback, if you want any, like, I'm there for you to do that, like, with the nitty-gritties and this, like, the small stuff. That's no problem. Like,
Same.
happy to look at that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I can polish my my masterclass a little more, and then you can have a look on it. Yeah.
Love to.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. This yeah, helped.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia, about this English speaking part, because that's a huge thing. And actually, Monica has been one inspiration when you started Freedom Alliance and you started to talk on Facebook about, my gosh, she doesn't talk perfect English, but she's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I sit sometimes in these interviews with these high level people. I'm like, what's the English word now? Like, it's like, but
This is what I have.
it was just at one point, like, I can't stop myself any longer. I can't. It's too strong what is coming out of me. I thought it's like, oh, I have to bring it out. No, I had to take away the blocks that were like, there was so much power inside, and I know you all have, like, there's so much power inside that wants out, because it has a greater purpose. It's there to do something great. So, like, please just let it out. Like, that's how I feel now. And no one listens to the details. Like, no one does. No one cares, really.
Yeah, and I have thought that so much about this English thing for me, and then I was like, yeah, but if I, really kind of think that it's not okay for me how I speak, then I don't give then I don't think it's okay for others as well. And what is that? What kind of values am I like then sign up for? It's like, no, if I'm like showing that this is okay, we need more space. We need more voices as us that doesn't have finding all the words all the time, but we have, the message, we have the vision, we have the strong like willingness. That's what we have to just give space for. Yeah.
And it's like anything, the more you practice, the more you learn, and the more you also listen to others speak. I think that's important. Like when you go into speaking and you hear their wording, you hear what, what kind of angles they use, like just being on the Wild and Free Festival and like hearing Balazs and Clint and like others that's been around, like, and also when you speak, Andy, it's just like I a lot of the time just listen to the wording and like the how you say things more than like I know a lot of the things that you say, but it's that is what I really like. Wow, that was such an amazing way to put it, and like what an angle, or what a phrase, and you learn all the time. Like that's like putting yourself into those situations and challenging yourself and listening to people and yeah, that's the development, right? And it's just like Maria and Victor, like I know that's been a big challenge for her as well. And then if you know it's a challenge, well, it's going back to Scott Oldford again. Like if you feel like, what are the blocks right now where you feel like challenged? What are the greatest kind of objections that are not like that are feeling hard for you? Just really state them. And then like, okay, what do I do about it? Like, how can I practice? How can I put myself out there? You can make it very practical also. Okay, these are the blocks for me right now. Okay, what can I do about it? What can I learn? Who can I approach to get better at this? Like, or how can I structure this? Or how can I educate myself? And then it's also about that discipline of like, then you kind of relax. Oh, wow, I can do something about it. Like, you can actually learn, you can actually like develop those skills that you need where you feel that you have a weakness, right? So and you're doing it just right. Like, but when you are doing the webinars, when you are doing the like these podcasts, you do like everything, that's where you are developing it, right? You're doing something about it.
And with this thing specifically, maybe it's like my inner rebel that I just think this way, but when there's stuff that like everyone kind of has a similar thought, or like a large percentage of people, I start to be like, how the hell did this even happen? Like, why do we all think this? Like, you know, it's like, where did this story come from? Do we all just like spontaneously at the same time be like, shit, if I don't say it perfectly, it doesn't get through? Or like, is this fucking taught to us? Like, is this like, how does this come through? And then be like, wait, okay, so this is by design. So okay, this story, like, this is another thing that like keeps us stuck, keeps us boxed in, keeps us locked in, that, oh, I need to perfect it before I can say it, you know, or that I need to do it this way, or people won't receive me, or like, and just pushing at those edges, you know, and like my story with Scott Alford, it's like question them, test them, you know, actually get better and improve the skill, but also just sometimes like when you see a wall, just like give it a fucking kick. You know, like, does that shit stand up? Or was like, there's just, oh, it was just smoke behind. It was bullshit, you know? And just give it a nudge and push on those edges and see what it's like, you know? And not allow you, and be like, do I even want to accept that? Like, do I want to embody that? Is that how I want to be, you know? Or, you know, earlier we were talking about on the way people do things, and we're like, it's not the way, it's the frequency. Well, same thing. It's not the words, it's the frequency. It's not the energy. So it's like, oh, if I believe it here, when we talk about it's the way the webinar is presented, yep, it's not about the way. But then all of a sudden over here, like, well, no, it is. I got to say the right syllables and the right tonation. And we're like, hang on. You know, same, but does something different. And just like actually sort of, again, sometimes like have fun with them, you know, just have a little bit of like, how true is this? Or like, do I really want to put this hat on and wear this today? Or no, you know, am I going to rub up against that and push my edges so that I can feel truly like this is not true for me. You know, this is not a part of my world moving forward in this way.
And I just want to share once, I did a workshop once here, it was a couple of years in Australia, and the woman that was kind of facilitator, she was like, yeah, but I think she was in a bad mood. She was like, I don't know if people will understand what you say because your English is not good. She said that. And I was like, fuck that, I felt. And then I did the workshop, and it was just English speaking, like fluent English. And they were like, oh my God. So many came up to me and said, this was the best workshop I ever been to, you know? So I was like, so it's like, yeah, there will always be the two, sides. And yeah, but I
And
guess
half
I
the
picked
time,
something up from her
yeah,
and
half the time it's more interesting, like just different tonation, different accents, like it makes you listen, you know. Someone like speaks just general like English, my first language, what I've grown up, like it's more interesting to listen to someone with an accent, you know, like it catches your attention more. You know, it's just like a whole different perspective to it. Like my dad is Glasgow, like it's Scotland, like thick accent, you know. When when Kate met my dad's side of the family before we moved to Bali, we were sitting at the table, and it was so funny. Like there's no like, oh, it's awkward. Um, we're sitting there, and one of my uncles is like, he's like, so you got a hoose over there? He's like, a what? No, he's like, a hoose? It's just like, a what? And he's like, a hoose, and he's like, a moose, and he's like, no, a hoose, and he's like, a hose, and he's like, no, a hoose, like your roof, and like your walls, your roof, and the guy's like, I was like, babe, a house, and she's like, oh, a house. She's like, hey, a hoose.
Swedish, you know, who's the Swedish?
Yeah, but it's like just that thick Glaswegian accent. And I come in like, hello, hon, how you doing? And just so thick, but it's just like it's the I don't know. This is fun to it. It's like it's a different. It just has variety, like you know. And again, it's the energy, like what that you know teacher says to you. It's more like, will anyone listen to you? Because you're like your energy is bad. Like if that's the way you're operating, and like what's the energy someone feels when they're teaching you because you speak in a perfect dialect, like you know, as opposed to when you're just free and fully expressed. Like the way I speak as well. I drop f bombs and then I realize there's kids on the call and I feel like an f bomb, and but I'm and ah and like, and sometimes I forget the word. I'm like, what's the word? How do I say this? Like, and I've had people be like, oh, you know, you say a lot, or you say these things. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, is that something important to you? Like, you know, and then like, yeah, I've been really working. I'm like, awesome. I'm just like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's just not something I care about. I don't, I'm an ah, and I used to way back, but now I just speak freely. Because one of the things that realized for me was how much energy and the compound effect over years, how much time and energy goes into battling myself over redundant things.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the compound effect of that for over a day, just how many times do you do that a day? How many times do you foot on and off the gas? How many times do you disempower yourself or question yourself, and how that what's the domino effect in your thoughts of that, and how long does that go on before you pull it back? And then the next day and the next day and the next week and month and year and year and year and decade, and the domino effect of that, how much energy, if you had a full tank every day, gets absorbed, like gone. And what can you do with that? And when you start to think like that, these sort of things, I feel, well, I found for me, I was like, fuck that anymore. Like, you know, just like, there's no point. I'm just wasting my life and time battling myself over shit that I don't even want to adopt, or like, it's not true unless I just decide it to be true and put the hat on. And so now just, for example, the speaking, I just speak animated and I do whatever. And sometimes it flows for me and sometimes it doesn't. And it just, you know, you be your true self, and then so your energy lands. And some people like the way I speak, some people don't like the way I speak, and that's just individual. But for me, I'm being free, fully expressed. How I speak with my hands, like I'm Italian. Like if my hands are behind me, I swear, like my shoulders would move. My hands were tied behind my back, like I couldn't be still while I talk. And so it's just, you know, you got to be yourself. You are who you are, and the way you are for a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. I was thinking almost the same thing. Like, what is worth your energy? Like, what is really important? Like, to ask yourself that when something comes up, like, but is this really important? And then get back to, okay, what is really important? Because this is like your life, this is your time, this is your vision coming into life. Like, yeah, that is important. Like, And then the others, like, but it comes to I spoke about it the Wild and Free, like these different ways of like really using your full potential. Like one of them being like really watching your thoughts very carefully, like, and see them as offerings. They come in like, oh, pick me up, like like if it's, but then you can look at them and like see, but is this useful? Like is this the tool that I need right now or not? Or is it just going to waste my time and energy and bring me into a state that I don't want to be in? And you do actually have a choice. Like the more that you can start to watch yourself and see what's going on, and in full acceptance, it's not like pulling yourself at all, like nothing like that. It's like this full loving acceptance of who you are, and lovingly saying like, wow, yeah, this was a good thought, or an emotion, like, wow, I want to go there, or this was like, oh, maybe not today, like yeah, not right now, like and it also kind of comes back into discipline, like what are the things that, like, because it's about growing up in a way, like to not let these, like, thoughts are a bit like children. I see them like, come and eat ice cream, come and eat ice cream. It's like, go browse on Facebook, go and like indulge in Netflix, like and of course you can do that once in a while, but you don't eat ice cream all the time, right? You're kind of the grown up that needs to like, okay, well, that sounds nice, but not right now, because this is what I really feel is important right now. Like, this is what is really bringing me forward, And it's like, in the end, really being able to discern, like because that's where you make the choices. If you heard this Atomic Habits, I think that was really like an eye opener for me. That book, it's everywhere, like you can even listen to it on like Spotify, but it's so good to like just realize the choices that you make and when and how you make them, and becoming conscious of the unconscious, so that you can actually make the choices in every step of your life that you want to make, that it's really the choices that you in the long run are bringing you where you want to be. So yeah, I can really recommend that if you haven't heard it or listened to it, because it's just really at least it empowered me to be conscious of the choices, and to, yeah.
What was the name of the book?
Atomic Habits.
Mm.
It was actually Rebecca Femia that suggested it, I think, in one of the
Yeah.
yeah.
There's another really good book, because what you're describing, so it's like the superconscious is the witnesser. That's why, like, meditation and these things can be so powerful, just to sit and just like listen to yourself and
Exactly.
all the
Yeah.
programming, everything going on, and yeah, just having like a daily sort of ritual where you can sit as the witnesser and just observe
Yeah.
and be the superconscious. There's a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Is a really good book, and talks about that. Talks about the conscious, the subconscious, the superconscious, and
Untethered Soul, was that the name?
yeah, The Untethered Soul. Um, I'll
Yeah,
just
and it's so interesting because this is actually what I do every day, and I teach also. I teach my clients. But the thing is that we have it's kind of an onion, and then it comes next level, and then it's like, oh wait, here's something. Okay, now I have actually a model I go for. I go to really witness. So it's just to pick yourself up over and over again, because it's an ever going work. It's really like, you just not take it's not that you just take a shower once and then you're done. You have to take a shower, yeah, quite now and then. So I think this is something or I know that's something we have to work with over and over again.
yeah.
And that book is good. I have read that, The Atomic Habits.
Just gonna drop them in the chat for you guys.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, the same. Interesting.
And it's so funny because sometimes you think you are done with something, you know, with limited thought. Like I thought I had resolved the English thing, but then it pops up sometimes. So it's like, oh, okay, let's go, one level deeper with this now, because the ego really wants to keep us safe. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting.
It's like
Yeah.
that saying. It's like a music artist or a song. It's like go van deeper. It's like another one.
Yeah, and there's a balance too. It's like really enjoying this present moment and the ride, whatever you are at. Like, because I mean, for me also, like, I feel like I'm in a hurricane of like emotions and things happening, and like, whoa, but at the same time, it's like I really am I'm actually very blissful, like most of the time, because I'm so in love with this present moment. That love can never like be shaken. Like whatever is, I love it. And that's kind of like a superpower, because when you start to love that, it's like, well, guess what? It's like you start to live for real. Like you really start to just enjoy whatever is there in your life, and everything becomes so beautiful, like everything around you, whatever happens. And I don't know where I started out with that, but that just came out.
Sounds like you're in the present moment.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, of course, and there's so many conceptions out there of like that we buy into sometimes also. Like I feel also with my father dying, like, oh, you must be feeling this way and that way and da da da. No, I'm actually feeling like right, completely uniquely the way I am feeling right now. Like there are a lot of projections out there from a lot of people, like, oh, you like going into this network marketing business, oh, it must be so like you're risking your whole life and blah blah blah. Like all these projections that are coming out actually a lot of the time affect us, and we buy into other people's stories and other people's ways. Like you almost feel sympathy for them, like I should feel this for their sake. It's like but like you don't have to feel like anyone else ever. Like you don't have to buy into anyone else's story of anything. And that also becomes a superpower when you like decided, I decide, like I'm not going to leave myself for anything in the world. Nothing. I'm not going to leave my unique, beautiful experience just to buy into another person's story. Like my stepfather, he's been and still is like very kind of upset that I'm doing this network marketing thing, even though like I retired Christopher and we're living out on our beautiful farm, like we're living this beautiful life. Like he's just starting to kind of get a little bit over it, but he's like, oh, you threw away your teacher's career, like you threw away your name, your everything, like. And yeah, I could like buy into his story, right? But that would have ruined my life. That would have not taken us here where we are at. If I bought into his story, like, oh no, I'm going to quit this. I'm going to go back to my teacher's job. How could I, you know?
Yeah. And even
So,
those statements, it's like, did like you threw it away and you ruined it, or did they? It's like for them, they ruined it. They've thrown it away. That's what their story is of you. It ain't
mm.
yours.
No, exactly. And yeah, there's so many things to say, but to like own your own reality, own your own story. It's just so important with this because it is relating to huge amounts of people that you're going through in this business. And the more you kind of own your own story and your own and you let everyone like I haven't like, oh, you shouldn't say that. I haven't bashed out to him. It's just like, okay, you know what? I'm doing this. Like you don't have to like engage in other people's stories either. It's like, I know exactly who I am. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to continue. And then then you find the right people that understand you, and the ones that like where you just feel completely aligned. And it's like I've said many times also, it's sometimes more about, of course you need to reach a lot of people, but sometimes you feel it's almost like going fishing, where you get this like, yeah, like Dolores coming into our business. It's just like such a blessing, this huge, amazing being. And it's like sometimes you're gonna find your leaders, you're gonna find your people that are gonna go out there and just smash it together with you. And like those are the ones you're like the golden nuggets that are coming your way the more you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And then once you've found like maybe 20 of those, then that's like it's an avalanche that just can't be stopped, right? Like then it's like if you would even try to like stop it, you couldn't, like it would be very hard. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, it gets to a point where you just like, I see that even now in our business, like there's nothing I could do to stop you or Kylie or Willow or like, Gabby or any of the people, like the groups in our team. I just, whether I'm there or not, it will continue. Doesn't mean I don't want to be there or don't have anything to contribute, but it's just like there's nothing I could do to stop it now, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, but it's more fun to play the game. Like, I think I said this to Monica. I was like, if you guys hit your goal and you're -3 by the Japan conference next year, as long as Willow does the same, well, Kylie's on track to probably be -4 by then as well, which would mean we would be -5 and -4.
Woohoo.
And right now we're -3, -2, which is crazy, But it's like that's gonna happen no matter what, though. Whether that's Japan or any other time, whether I do anything or not, that will just happen because everyone else is on their mission. But it's like for me, it's boring. Like someone, Tarek actually asked me, he's like, why do you trade? Like if guys, he said, why do you do a magic if you make more money trading? Because we do really well financially from my trading. I was like, honestly, it's fucking boring. It's like when you become good at it, it's literally I just sit down, I look at some lines on the screen, I click a button, I click it again. That's it. And it's like that's boring for me. Like there's nothing there. Like great, it's a result. But this to be able to connect with like people like yourselves and have these kind of conversations, and that lead to business and connect people like Dolores and everyone else, and this bigger vision and what we want to do and the impact of that and the ripple, and just what can come from that, and these different ventures, these different people coming through and teaching people about sovereignty and supporting them, and as we go through these changeover years, it's that lights me up. So now I get to follow my heart, I get to have fun, I get to create in that way, versus it's just about money. It's like there's no point. And so yeah, just like enjoying the ride, like allowing yourself to, like I said, to just create and be you, like do it your way, to have fun, to figure it out, to make a mess, to whatever. It's like that's the whole point. And to get to be part of this, to get to be part of this group, which most people on the outside of like a network marketing style business don't get. Again, they are all just like I was when I first started, just repeating a narrative. We've got no comprehension of what it means. Then when you finally get in, and I would say this kind of group and space is unique. It's not like a lot of others. So this is a rare situation, I would say. But then to be able to have these kind of groups and these kind of visions and missions and the correlation of it, like you don't find this. Like
I
this is
just
just
want
not.
to say something because
Yeah.
that's a key also, because I know as I did like financial free courses like back in 2009. So I have people around me who's financially free. So this is something they can do to help other people get financially free. So this is a thank you for bringing that up, because I mean they may be looking for some joy in their life and how they can help people get financially free, because this is a really fun, joyful vehicle to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like once you have money, like, and you're taken care of, like for yourselves and your families, it's like, well, then what? Like that, I've never gotten this like stack, more. Like I'm just, if that is at the cost of getting to co-create and impact and do things together, like there's no point for me. I would rather give and spend and support and see more like oscillate and different experiences and different creations and those sort of things. Like that's fun for me, you know. And I, once I like a lot of people I talk to in the same situation, it's the same. So well, what do I do now? You know, like I don't really talk about it. I think I might have mentioned it once before, but it's like we donate like heaps of different drinking units, shower units, and stuff to like a lot of shelters. Like, you know, I don't think I've said it. I think maybe we said it on a private call, Monica, but like we do that part of our magic business. We just buy the machines ourselves, but like we've just done that. Part of that for me is like I was homeless at a point, you know, and then like so I've done it to homeless shelters in Brisbane and Sunshine Coast, whatever. We've done it to like women and children's centers and domestic abuse stuff because like I went through that as a kid. I grew up in that sort of home, so it's like we've put drinking units there, we've put shower units there because it's like for us, it's well for me, in a selfish context of like it feels good, but I'm like, what are some things I can do that can actually create a monumental shift for people that are really going through it? Like what can happen for someone that is homeless or potentially experiencing a lot of drug and alcohol addiction, these sort of things, to actually get this kind of water into their life or have these kind of showers where normally it's in a city and it's these sort of things that's pumped full of chemicals and that. Like what you know, what's the domino effect of that? And so again, I don't do that for money. I don't do that for significance. It's like it's hard and it's fun and it's I can, you know, and combined with clothes and donation things I've done for years. But like this is what it starts to become. Then we think of different projects or different people we can help, and you know, these calls and this stuff it's not really like, to be honest, it's not me. In my heart, it's not really to support you to go 6A so that we can rank up or Mana can rank up. It's just like, this is just fun. Like I could have capped this call like at an hour each time. Like I've only got an hour. That's all I've gotten. But I'm here every time, like 2.5, 3 hours, like because it's engaging and it's fun and it's, you know, it's something unique that you get to do and experience. And sometimes I think when we're in the grind of the build, we can take for granted what we have because we're so focused on what we don't. But when you can see the riches you're surrounded by the community, by, you know, even just the products and so on, and the kind of conversations and the bigger visions, you know, you can't really put a dollar value to that, but just the richness of that. And as we continue, these next couple of years are going to be pretty fucking nuts. And then the years that follow, you know, to be able to be grounded in a community like this and have these kind of conversations and this sort of support and to be held with it, it's like it's a safe home.
Tarek actually pointed out the fact that this community also, when you go traveling the world, you could always reach out to people where you are and ask for them sharing water and perhaps even have a place to stay. And it's really becoming a big community where you
Yeah, we did that in New
can
Zealand.
meet new people.
Yeah, we just did that in New Zealand. We when I got there, I was like, went and bought these massive jugs of things for our van, like from the shops, and then was just like tried to put the water in the stream so I didn't waste it. And then we found someone and drove to their house, and she's awesome. She's actually a 5A in Shannara's team, who's in Beck's team, and so. And I just said to her, I was like, hey, like, thank you so much for your time. I was like, if I can support you, you know, so we've had a couple calls since then. She's not in my team or anything, but it's just to give back. And, you know, there's probably no equality of like that much water to my time. Like, it's not about that. It's just, again, she's just fun to connect with and support her. I've given her some ideas and she's killing it. She's on almost at 6A now. And so yeah, you know, that's what it is. It's like a big community, really.
Yes. But guys, we have been going on now for a long time speaking about time. I mean, time just disappears, honestly, when we talk.
It's almost like it's an illusion.
Exactly. But I was thinking, Rebecca, also, you haven't said that much. I would just wanted to give you the opportunity if you had any questions or anything to share before we round up.
Yeah, like Marie said, you're talking about the Leeds situation. I'm in that.
So I'm struggling now with not giving up, and the festival was really helpful in like just keep on going and keep on doing what I'm doing. But I'm having difficulties connecting with people. Maybe because I don't want to. Deep inside, I think it's pretty hard to be interested and genuine and like, yeah, finding that deep connection. I think it's hard. I mean, it's the same in the dating world. Like I'm single and I don't want to connect with men either because there's no curiosity, no genuine curiosity. So I'm struggling with that a bit. Also finding myself in the business. So like Patricia said, like, who am I in this business? How do I want to run it? Do I want to do it like Maria, my upline, or do I want to? I know I have to find my own way because we are all doing this business in a unique way. But so I'm sort of in the struggle right now, but also seeing the fun and everything around it. Mhm.
Thanks for sharing. Can I ask a couple questions on it?
Yeah.
So what does it look like? You know, you talked about sort of the struggles and the challenges. When you said leads, do you also mean like you're not getting many leads? Is that what the
Yeah.
struggle is? Yeah. So what is your business look like? Like what are you currently doing consistently?
Yeah, exactly. What am I doing? I'm doing too many things, I guess. I'm building a website, trying to like round up my small team because I don't have a big team. And then also thinking like I shouldn't be leading people right now because I'm only 3A. So that can wait. So I'm just trying to learning actually. And then I have my own business as a holistic health practitioner.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to do that as well and like combining it with the water, just
Yeah.
trying to find my space and trying to learn and trying to be consistent with putting out content and give value.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool.
Probably
So
I'm going to change my brand a bit after this weekend.
yeah.
But Rebecca, I just have to say sorry, I find that you do really beautiful posts, and you're very good at putting yourself out there on social media. Really, really beautiful posts.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying,
Mhm.
but and then I don't feel that I get anything back for it, and that's where the struggle comes in. Like, oh my God, am I just gonna go keep on doing this, or do I have to find another way? And also in my human design, I found out that I'm the type that don't have influence with people that I don't know. So then I was like, oh my God, is this business totally wrong for me? Because this is what I felt. And then I read about it in my human design. So how do I reach people? How can I have influence? How can people trust in me and knowing that I tell the truth?
So as much as I would be like, you know, I'm a generator in human design, it's also a bunch of bullshit if it becomes a thing that you start to identify to. They're meant to be tools that support you in awareness and assistance. But if you go, whoop, I'm this, and now I live into it, that's
Mm-hmm.
a slippery slope. So
Yeah.
I would invite you to just fuck that off, really. It's just straight up bullshit, really. You know, like yeah, it everything's really just a tool to understand oneself more. And if all of a sudden, if it starts becoming the frame with which we live inside of, or it frames our identity, and we take away our own free will and human consciousness and our own like infinite fucking creation, we're missing the point. And what I would say back to you, and again, not even like logically, it's just kind of what I'm feeling. And then I noticed with the words you were saying, is you kept saying, I'm trying this, I'm trying this, I'm trying this, I'm trying this. What I would say for you is just pick something and fucking go. And
Yeah.
just stick it out. Don't give yourself an out for like 3 months and just go and create. Or if there's an area you need to grow, so say you feel like you're doing good posts, or say, you know, you're creating content, but it's not really getting engagement. We can look back to what we're talking about Scott Alford. Well, what's the issue? Is it that, do you have a large audience that is engaging with you outside of that? Or if you don't have a large audience and you're not getting a lot of engagement, then focus on audience building. And so the thing you just said would be an instant block for you to do that. That I don't have influence over people outside of myself, so I'm not going to bother trying
Yeah.
to learn how to build ads or build an audience. Like, and so down the rabbit hole we go of pessimism. And so I would just say for you is like, what is the thing that will move the needle for you? And just fully commit, because the feeling I have is it's trying to find oneself before, this is not the right word because I don't want it to sound like discrediting or of everything you are doing or whatever, but it's like before being in the game, you know, it's like trying to figure out how to win the game before being in the game. And the energy of it is almost like when I'm listening to you, it's trying to figure it all out, and I change this and move this and do this and what's this for me and da 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 da, and not enough of like, I'm just gonna get in there and fucking do it each day, you know, and not just like keep doing the same thing that I know is not really creating the result, and so I can then be like, well, I'm doing it, it's just not working, I got to figure more stuff out. Instead, really get in there and be like, cool, that's not working, what do I need to do? If I get honest with myself in the mirror, not all the personal stuff and all the inner work, but more so maybe the hard skills, what do I need to get better at? What do I need to create? And really just throw myself in and be a student of for the next 90 days. This feels uncomfortable. This is the thing. Okay, great. I'm going to do that. And not give myself an out, not do it for 2 weeks and then go, oh, that's not really working, so maybe let me go back and think about it some more. And you know what I mean? Like the safety in it's like the safety in contemplation. You know, it's like becoming really safe and really comfortable in the analyzing and theoretical and the contemplation of it all, instead of just jumping out the boat, you know, and be like, fucking, I'm in the water, and really going for it. Does that resonate what I'm saying? Like, does it feel like there's something there?
Yeah. Yes.
In what way for you?
Yeah, but that is something that I experienced through the festival, that I've been dimming myself. I've been so I probably haven't been fully myself and a bit cautious. Can you say cautious?
Yeah.
I'm not a shy person. I'm a loud person. I swear a lot. I laugh loud, and everybody thinks that's wrong. Like, I heard that I scare people, that my authority, like when you say things, everybody thinks that's the way it's supposed to be. But from my side, it's just I'm just suggesting something. And so I have
fucking say it.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of buried that person. I buried her pretty deep, and she came out through Vuja Deus body activation. I screamed, and Anna, my friend, said like, "Oh my God, I could see your inner goddess come out."
Wow.
So I think for me right now, it's just to dare to be that fucking awesome person that has a lot of authority, and I don't give a shit if people get scared, then I'm not for you.
Exactly. Yay.
So real quick, for everyone else on this call, what's the difference between Rebecca who just spoke then and Rebecca who spoke before?
Your energy is out.
Yeah, it's out of the bag.
Yeah, what are your words, or what are you seeing and feeling in Rebecca from 2 minutes ago to now?
Yeah, I have to add something because I know you, Rebecca, and Pia did something together which we really resonate with your energy. Might do it differently, but you did a seminar together, and for me, you are really rebellion health practitioner, like, you know, really rebellion, and you have such a power. And skip that human design shit. I'm working with human design, so I know. And I know we have talked about it, Rebecca.
Yeah.
And I mean, you attracted Pia because you're a rebellion. She's a rebellion too. I don't know if she's working and you do it on your own, or, I mean, I see really something with the rebellion part and the health part. And you have just been, go for it. And be consistent in 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Marie.
And I can say also, like, it's beautiful what you're getting out there, and you just want to see more. It's like of that funny side of you and that complete live side, and that there's so much heart and so much fun and so much rawness and honesty in you that is so beautiful. And then I'm just like Andy's saying, like when you combine that with the actual skills of, okay, how do I get a further reach? How do I reach more people? Like how can you go into ads? Can you go into like you know, going into groups, or you know, how do you do it and keep to one thing and do it really, really good? And how much are you inviting other people also? Because a lot of the time you kind of forget that, guess what, you have to invite people like to what you're doing. Like a lot of like people are doing beautiful posts and like amazing like content, and then like they sometimes forget that, wow, yeah, I actually can invite people and be super clear about what this business is. And when you start doing that regularly, of course not too often, but like at least once a week, or like just get it out there, like now we have this webinar, now I'm inviting you to this Facebook group, or you know, well, that's where the leads start to happen for real. Like get like further outreach, more invitation, be yourself even more, like get yourself out there, and you're going to see the real results from that. And like you said, like really team up with the team that you have, like if they're there with you, like to boost them as well, because of course they generate to you as well, like you support each other in this.
Yeah.
And
Thank
I just
you.
want to say as a feedback also, like when because you said, Rebecca, that something like, yeah, people don't like when I laugh loud or something like that. And I have thought about that actually, yeah, some days ago, that I really love the women that laugh loud. I'm like, I'm totally drawn into that because there's something with those personalities. And you know, so when you said that, no, I'm like this and I'm loud and I'm like, woo, I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, if I see you, like, I want to hang out with you. So it's like, you know, yeah, people don't like it, it's not your people. So be
Yeah,
loud,
exactly.
because then you get the right people towards you. So
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
It's one of the things I actually love most about Maria. Like even when she
Yeah.
lived with us for a bit, I was like, I might have to like repair a couple windows that smashed to get her laugh. But I was like, there's so much joy in my home, in my house, you know. Like even when she left, I was like, you just the word I think of when I think Maria is like boom. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
exactly. Nature force.
yeah,
Force
but
of nature.
it emanates. It's a gift.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's the biggest thing I was feeling with you. It's like uh, when you were sharing, it's like the getting ready to getting ready to getting ready to getting ready to think about getting ready to think about to contemplate getting ready, and just the safety that's come from that. And now it's
Yeah.
familiar. So that's the challenge. It's like, fuck, I got to do the unfamiliar thing and really just put myself out there. And that's where the discipline thing comes in. But yeah, I would just like honestly, and even if like there's the stuff of I've been in for X long and this has happened or this is what happened in the past, like any shit that we're pulling from the past to dictate our current story projected forward, fuck that off as well. And really, like I said, you've had this amazing event and big shifts for you and stuff like that. Like have fun moving forward now.
Yeah.
Really commit, really look at what you want to do, be fully yourself. Like even dial it up, you know,
Hmm.
online. Like
Hmm.
no one stops for boring shit. Like no one
Yeah.
stops for safe shit online, right? Like it's there's so much noise. Like I don't even have social media anymore. So it's I feel like this weird alien like outside of society now because and I'm like I don't know how I did it anymore. Now I'm off socials, but going back into them, like there's so much noise.
Yeah.
And so to stand out, you have to be fully yourself. Like you have to be vibrant. And that's just to catch someone's attention, you know? So then if you're
Hmm.
not truly yourself, you're not really sharing your true heart, no one feels it. So now I stopped for the first couple lines, but then I kept scrolling. You know, it's you've got to be fully yourself. And again, like I said to Patricia before, like it's choose this fully, choose the medicine of this, you know, the discomfort, the squeeze, the like, oh shit, to really choose this and step into it. Like choose it, choose all the medicine's going to come from it, all the discomfort, and get the external accountability around you. If it's Maria or whatever else, just like, this is what I'm doing. This is the shit I normally do to get out. Like, here's let me lay all my cards down and be like, this is my get out of jail free card. This is how I dodge it. This is how I do whatever. Lay it all bare. No more poker. Like with the hands on the table, and just, this is what I'm committed to. This is what I'm gonna do. And like, fuck 90 days, but just go longer. You know, at least go into the year of just, I'm gonna keep doing this. Don't pull your head up until the end of the year and be like, cool, what's happened? What have I learned? Let me take stock. Let me mine for the gold of these last 4 months and see what I can take from it, and then carry forward. Then run to, you know, they're doing a. I don't know if you're coming, but is there an event out here in March now? I think.
Yeah.
Carly was
In
saying?
Australia, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're coming to that, let that be the thing you go to. If not that, maybe the Japan conference in June, and whether you go to that or not, but just let it be a target, be something that you're cool. I'm gonna put my head down and go till that.
Yeah.
And just keep picking little times in front of you. That's the next time I'm going to come up for a breath and take stock. And just
Can
go.
I say something? Can I say something also? This
No, you
Rebecca,
cannot.
this
Stop it.
you cannot. No, shut up. No, this woman that you connected with within yourself. Sorry.
Background noise. You keep going.
Okay. Yeah, the woman that you connected to during the festival, like within yourself. I would suggest you to connect with her every day, like to really, you know, put on a music, connect, and just, you know, think how would she act like in this situation? What would she do? Where would she come from? She would probably not give a fuck about, you know, she would probably be, you have the answer, you know? So just keep connecting with her.
You're beautiful. And I could almost see, like you said, a before and after, like you can actually see it on people's faces, like before and after the event. I remember Lovisa, if you saw her there, and she got an award there, and like she actually looked completely different, like before and after the event. Like after the event, she's like, you could see it on her face, like
Yeah.
she's a different person now. Like
When I come home, could feel my skin was like glowing, and it felt more how do you say, stomped, more tightened.
Or like,
Yeah, more
yeah.
tightened. Like I had a collagen session or something. Like did a facelift. Oh, it was a weird feeling.
So many, you can see the confidence, you can see the absorbance of complete love, like in people's whole body, like physical appearance somehow. It's just so beautiful. It is so beautiful. Like,
Yeah,
and
and that's what
for that.
yeah, we have to, you know, when we have that experience, because I have experienced that as well, and then it's like to continue to keep repeating that version of ourselves, you know, continue after, because otherwise the ego wants to take us back to safety and like the one that we should be. So like just reaffirming
That's a
that.
good remander. Yeah.
Yeah.
But guys, I think we need to round it up now. We've actually been talking for 3 hours.
Yay.
My
Oh, this
gosh.
is so fun, right? Getting together. I love every single one of you, honestly. Like this is I love these talks, and I'm so happy to have Andy here with us. Thank you for giving all this amazing value, and everyone on the call. Yeah.
And thank you. And you also, Monica, you weren't well, so you know, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
And just
Thank
about
you.
the next call, just set a date for that. What would you say? I think Andy know better maybe when when you could be available. Let me see. I can't.
So the 22nd, I know Kate's family's coming back, and then the next day is Kate's mum's birthday, and the day after is Billy's birthday. So maybe the 29th, so it would be 3 weeks. Does that work?
Yeah, that would be
Or if
perfect.
you guys want to have another call and I can't make it, that's fine. But
No, because
3
I'm
weeks I can
actually in
do.
Ireland then. I'm going to be, going to Ireland with Dolores.
Cool.
So 29th would be perfect, actually.
Awesome.
Is that okay with you guys? Like 11 on the 29th? Yeah. Or is it better on a Saturday? On a
Friday works good, I think.
Friday works good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 29th, the 11th, guys. Put it
And I
there.
would just say too, is let's maybe, I don't know how we'll do it, but like going back to the group, is let's really make sure that like everyone's getting on the, unless we've got like a random launch or something like that. I feel like there's a lot of people that are just not coming on, or they'll catch the replay, or whether they're, sort of feeling small, feeling like maybe they shouldn't be in the group or any of that sort of shit too, is let's really commit as a group to like, okay, we're on these calls, we're all making time to be on the call. We picked this day because it works for people at this time or whatever. And then let's be there. Like, let's do what we need to do to make the calls. I'm not really speaking to you guys because you're on the call, but whether we go back to the team or however we do that, but let's, I think, get a commitment of everyone to actually be on these calls. Otherwise, there's no real point to be in this Telegram group chat. Like, we don't really say much there. It's all kind of in the calls. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, let's rally the next call.
Okay, Ann-Katrin, maybe just put mute.
Yeah, I think we all benefit. That's the thing. Everyone benefits more from being on here because we have a variety of questions and feedback and whatever else. So we're all better for it of everyone being on these calls. Yeah. And if people don't want to be on them, then maybe they just hop out too.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
at
I'm
least not use the
thinking
group.
actually, because I was thinking to do like, because we're going to have the next kind of mastermind in the team, like at the end of the year, to also help all of you to get people across the line, because we usually have that as well. But I was thinking, what if we had in this group just like a small happening, like a group with like 3 days boosting or like masterminding or whatever, like to also give you all the chance to kind of step in and to get leads in and to do something very practical with the team that we're here. Because then I think also if we could maybe think about it until next time, but to have it more like, okay, let's do something together, something very like real. What would you feel about that?
Yeah,
I'm down.
that
I'm down
sounds
for
really
whatever.
good. Inspiring.
Sounds interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So
sure.
you mean put it out like on social media that we do, you mean kind of like a summit or something like
Yeah,
that? Is
exactly.
that
Like a 3-day
Yeah.
mastermind or something like that.
Yeah,
Let's start
I
a
would love
Facebook group for it, like a brand new thing, and just like a short kind of touchdown, like in between, like maybe end of October or something like that, at the end.
Yeah.
That's also going to be at the end of the like 90-day sprint when everyone's been going through all the tasks and everything. So
I think I will be out this week actually.
not really.
Yeah, it's because we have to have 3 people into the freedom era like academy, and it's like
It's a bit hard to. I really put my energy into my Swedish leads, but they are not in English.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers yet. I don't have the numbers. If I would have all the audience, it would be possible. But right now, it's like it's possible, of course. But don't have to.
Is TFE what you promote to though? Like, do you promote it to leads or do you promote to something else?
No.
We did. I did promote this webinar to TFE. We did together, but some people don't want to go through this the English speaking process. Yeah.
No, I have TFE, like I really promote that. I'm like in awe. So that works actually really good for me. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just that I haven't built up my audience yet. It will come. I'm building.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say if you don't like promote or whatever, is potentially just send an email, say, hey, you know, I promote to this sort of group and we sell direct, whatever. Yeah, and see if they do that. But if not, if you do promote it, then is what it is.
Yeah. No, TFE is
Awesome.
answer to
Yeah.
my prayer.
Okay, guys. So thank you
Yes.
so much for today, and see you on the 29th, and just continue to do these amazing things you're doing. And thank you, Andy, for being with us for 3 hours. Wow.
Yes.
No worries.
Thank you so
Go
much.
to sleep now on that in that end of the world. I can see you. It's getting late
Thank
there.
you. Yeah.
10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Big
Thank
love.
you so much.
Big
Thank
love.
you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.